do.
Can't see it at the moment.
It is live for me at the moment. It says live, so I can see it. Yeah, standard.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I only just got the notification then, so.
Oh, I think our mics might be live as well, actually.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 2 of the Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series here at Misano. However, before we get to that, we are, of course, here to race for Muller tonight. Ghost Muller, who is currently recovering after a bout of illness and surgery overnight. We do hope that he recovers well, and we wish him and his family all the best. But we will keep him very well in our minds tonight, and we do have a GoFundMe link in our YouTube and Twitch chats there, so please be sure to support him and his family however you can, whether that be sharing the link or even presenting a monetary donation to the cause.
Yeah, exactly right. And a lot of us do know Sean Muller very well, also known as Ghost. He was the catalyst for me joining Octane Online Racing, got me over to the dark side of ACC, and which I thoroughly enjoyed. It's really nice over here. But yeah, he's had some major heart issues and a 17-hour long open heart surgery. So yeah, I think everyone's thoughts really go out to him and his family, of course, and hopefully we can help him out in our own way. But yeah, thank you all who have donated so far. A huge amount of money has already been raised, so I think Sean and his family will really appreciate that. And hopefully, Alexis, we will hear from him and his family soon with an update.
Yes, certainly. So yes, we are here for Split Blue. Right now we've got Split Red coming up next, the split that Sean would usually be commentating on. But right now you've got myself, Alexis Bowen, and also George Cook in the commentary box you just heard from there. We've got Mike Crick also here on the broadcast as well.
We do indeed, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from Mike Crick a little bit later on this evening. He is juggling about 15 different juggling balls right now. Very impressive to watch here in the commentary box. He's doing all sorts of things simultaneously. Format for today, of course, it's a 4.2 kilometer circuit here at Misano in beautiful Italy, and there is 16 corners for the drivers to navigate. I think Alexis and I, we both agree that is one of our favorite tracks out here to race on. Very technical track, very tricky when it comes to grip levels and the conditions, especially when things start to change. You might have flashbacks to the 12 hours of Misano last year for the Endurance Series here at OOR. But I think we're in for a great night of racing in Split Blue.
Yes, certainly. And last night in Split Green, we had a fair bit of rain curtailed the efforts about halfway through. It was a dry to wet race. Of course, Split Green last night unfortunately did not have the usual day to night transition but we still had some form of weather transition, which was good to see. But we'll see what Split Blue and Split Red hold for us tonight as we watch Mia Rose in the 909 Lamborghini get around for a lap.
I was watching her in practice, and she did get to a 133.002, so 2 1,000ths off of that legendary 32 club. I feel like she's definitely got a little bit more in the Lamborghini to give. Up on the time at the moment, of course, going for their first hot lap. A little bit of a yellow flag out there on the circuit as well. But yeah, 15 minutes of qualifying. Then we will be jumping into a 60-minute race here where we do switch over to 9 p.m. on the circuit. So we will have that sort of twilight to night transition going on, which does make things interesting. Not a huge number of lights on this circuit to really sort of show off what's going on. But nonetheless, it's going to be exciting because there's 2 mandatory pit stops as well, Alexis, and I think that just, it throws all sorts of curveballs into the strategy, and there's so many options of what you can do in a race like this.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it'll be very intriguing to see what the strategy calls are here tonight as we watch Mia Rose. She is about to cross the line with a 33.4 to go to the top of the field.
Pretty good place to start there, and won't be challenged at the moment. Joshua Vediger in P2 of 33.6, and then we're into the 34 club immediately. We have got Megan in the chat saying she's done 32s with race fuel. I absolutely believe it. My question is, can she wrangle the Lamborghini to do that at Misano? And also, thank you and welcome in to everyone in chat as well. Lots of messages for Sean Muller. Get well soon, Sean. Ghost Muller from Wings. Reaper Noski saying, Muller, thinking of you and a speedy recovery, mate. Anaya and Annie is saying, I imagine he's doing laps in his dreams right now. Ferox saying, get well soon, Sean. Absolutely couldn't agree with more with the sentiments being thrown out through chat right now. So a big thank you to everyone. Looking at Ashton Reynolds now, and BMWs, they're strong here.
But that was an invalidation. Yeah, he just ran a little bit too wide going through turn 12. Yeah, picking him up, and he runs just that little bit wide as Johnson crosses the line for 34. One goes up into P5, now down to P6 as Brimblecombe goes up into P4. So it looks like it could be quite tight between the sort of P4 down P7 range now as Paddy Oliver going up into P6. So it's all very tight here at the moment for Split Blue. Here is Babby, currently sitting in P2 at 33.7.
On board we go. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So we've got this beautiful new graphic that has been designed. It is, of course, here to race for Muller. There are plans in the background going on, being schemed and developed right now by the likes of Mike Crick and the rest of the admin team about holding a charity event for Sean Muller. And by the sounds of it, Alexis, so I don't want to give him too much away, but by the sounds of it, there might be some Porsches involved.
Yes, we all know that Sean Muller absolutely adores his Porsches, and it would only be fitting if we ran the Porsches for a race in support of the great man. And I mean, talking about great things, that livery on Bab's car was beautiful. The Beyond Blue livery.
Let's go on board now with Mia Rose. She has found nearly 4/10 of a second. That would put her very close to the 32 club for this qualifying session. Into turn 10 we go. Does cut a lot of the curb. That is definitely one way of going about it. Lots of ways to cut the cake on that corner, I think, Alexis. If you get it a little bit wrong, you're going to find the rear end sliding out quite quickly. You're not going to be able to get the traction to get the acceleration down, and then suddenly you're going to find yourself losing so much time off the straight. Looks like Mia has done the opposite to that and found all the grip that she needed.
Yeah, it does take a little bit for the tyres to get up to tempers. Reynolds is currently on top with a 33.4. Mia Rose will cross the line very, very soon. She's going to go straight into the 32s and straight to provisional pole. And this is going to be a very competitive time, a 32.6.7, I would say. 6.8. That is unreal stuff from Mia Rose. That is super, super fast. And she's already gained a 10th through the first chicane, gaining a little bit more on the exit. So she's got more in that lap, but unfortunately just a little bit wide. She has to return the pits and put on a fresh set of tyres.
Plenty of time to go again, though, of course. But yeah, 32.68. By the way, nice prediction there. It was super close. You got within 100th of a second. Very, very nice work. JC here going across the line. He'll start his hot lap with 7 minutes and 15 seconds left on the qualifying timer. McLaren's traditionally quite strong here. I don't know too much about the Lamborghinis, but any car in the hands of Mia Rose is usually very, very quick. But the McLaren here is notably quite a quick car. Lots of nice sweeping corners for it to take advantage of its good exit speed. And tricky through Rio, of course, for every single car. One car that I've seen that is quick, but it is very, very here and there in terms of its handling, is the Aston Martin. So I think it's going to take a really safe pair of hands to navigate around the track with an Aston Martin today.
Mia Rose coming into the YouTube chat asking if she should go for another run. Well, I mean, it depends. You've already got a very good time on the board, but we want to see you go faster, so absolutely.
I think it's one of those things where if you can go faster, you absolutely should. Just kick a little bit more dust into the eyes of your opponents. Why not? Let's go for it, Mia. Absolutely. She says, copy that. Yeah, there we go.
The gap she's got right now back to Reynolds, it's nearly 0.8 of a second. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, she's kicked a few stones up in Ashton Reynolds' face with that one, that's for sure, and the rest of the grid, I should say. But at the end of the day, why not? Go for it. Show what kind of pace you can put on there. JC's found a lot of time on that hot lap of his. Ooh,
oh, that's wide.
That is wide. Yeah, I was going to say he almost gained a bunch of time, but he just lost so much. It is good enough for P4 though, but
and look, he's got same time as Fabi. That never happens according to JC.
Yeah. Well, he'll have to eat his hat then, I think. 1:33.487 for 2 cars on the grid, separated by 0.0. Well done.
Yep, he'll be very happy with that. He'd hope Babby doesn't improve from here because he'd love to have an equal time. I mean, he'd definitely like to be ahead of Babby, but either way, it's an equal time. He'll be very chuffed.
Yeah, it is that whoever sets that time first gets the bragging rights to the position, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, because, based on their race number and a few other things, that McLaren could be up in P3, just showing a little bit of my bias at the moment. But Bab is on a good lap right now. That's a great bit of time he's found through the first corner of Rio, and he'll keep that, looks like, on the exit. Gets really on the curb on the inside of the exit towards the back straight. Now heading towards turn 8, loses a little bit of time overall, but this will just depend on how he can navigate the next few corners. Got a lot of time to find on the entry, but I think it might cost him on the exit. No, neutral at the moment. Doesn't really gain anything, doesn't really lose anything. Turn 10, I think, will tell the tale, Alexis.
Yes, certainly. He takes a lot of the inside curve. It's one of the lines he could take, but it does compromise the exit, and he has lost a fair chunk as well. So it'll just be a continual loss as he makes his way down towards the kink at turn 11, through into 12 and 13. The tough breaking point. Where does he brake? He goes quite late. It's still very loose on the rear, and that's invalid.
That's a real shame, that is. But 4 minutes on the clock, so he can go around for another lap there. Looks like he looks like he's got enough fuel to do that, so he will indeed go again. Just behind him, that's Ellis, number 17 Lamborghini, who's actually been impressing me so far this season, up by nearly 0.5 of a second in P12.
This is going to be a good lap. P5, if you don't mind, for Ellis. That is fantastic.
Wait a second, hold on. He's done another one. We've got three cars doing a 1:33.487. There's 3 cars on the grid with the same time.
Well, what is this? Haref 97 or whatever it was?
I don't know, but I mean, this is completely unusual. We'd be luckier to win the lottery at this stage. That said, Misano is one of those tracks where it does really come down to small margins between usually the top 10. Obviously, Mia's out there at the top setting some incredible lap times, but to have 3 cars doing a 33.487 on the dot, that's just... What is this? What's happening?
Yeah, again, it reminds me a lot of the final race of the 97 season at Jerez, where you had Villeneuve, Schumacher, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen all set the exact same lap time in qualifying.
And I do have a message to relay to everyone on the stream. The Real Ash is in the Twitch chat saying, thank you all for the support of my brother. We as Sean's family appreciate all the support, with a big love heart there. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we'll do as much as we can to support Sean. And we just wish you guys and the family and Sean the best of times ahead. And let's put our collective hands together and hope that he can make his way through this very tricky time. So nonetheless, Ellis will actually break this. Don't know, just slow down. Just slow down. Stop. Damn it. All right, well, that's P2 though. Ellis, what is he doing? He's found some pace out there.
Oh, the Lamborghini is actually quite strong around here. I mean, we know that from Mia Rose being out front by, 6/10 per second, but the AM driver Ellis coming out here has just absolutely blitzed the field so far. Well, at least compared to his usual rivals, and is currently overall P2.
Absolutely astonishing. I mean, I guess this track, you don't really get up to much more than, 250, 260 kilometers an hour. It's sort of that nice power band for the Lamborghini as well. So that might be part of the advantage it's got. Maybe it's just got a way to tune it that's really nice. Haven't myself driven the Lamborghini around here. We are being told that Ellis is actually in silver class. So that's just an entry list error there for him. And I was going to say, if he, this is the Ellis for Pro campaign right now, fastest progression from AM to Pro we've probably ever seen in Octane Online Racing, but that is not the case. He is silver class, turns out.
Oh, well, still very, very fast lapping. I mean...
Oh, for sure. We've got Peach saying that Lambo might be a little bit underbopped here. Well, whatever the reason is, the Lamborghinis do look strong here at the moment. On board with Joshua Vediger in the Coca-Cola No Sugar live read BMW. That is another strong contender to get some good results here. And he has had some good results too. Ashton Reynolds in the BMW. So 2 BMWs up in the top 5 at the moment. 2 Lamborghinis and 1 Porsche. The Porsche being Michael Babb. Unfortunately, our 33.487s no longer on the board. It's a bit of a shame that we've got one. Michael Babbs hasn't improved his time, but he'll go out for another lap, I believe, and he might just be sitting in the pits. No, he is going round, so he will get another lap. Just about to cross the line now. Has Mia improved there? I think there might have been like a 1,000th of a second improvement or something. Yes, so she did. We've just been told over the microphones. Yeah, so slight improvement there for Mia. So she is going faster. But is now in the pits, as is Breno Ellis. He won't be going again. So really it's up to Joshua Vediger and Ashton Reynolds to see if they can find any final time on this last lap of qualifying.
Yes, so Reynolds will come across the line very, very soon. He has lost a chunk of the time he had gained. So it's going to be fairly nip and tuck if he can move his way ahead of Vediger. But at this stage, Ellis looks pretty much set, although it's not going to be enough for Reynolds, but it should move him up to P3, and it does. So Reynolds up to P3, but I think Ellis, the convoy, is on a lap now. He's coming in very, very late here, and he's 2/10 up. Can he hold it through this tricky final sector, though? Where's the braking point for him? Keeps it nice and straight, nice and stable. Does have to downshift a little extra gear later on, but the exit is sublime from Jamie Conboy.
Oh. That is traditionally where the McLarens do suffer from a lack of grip, but he'll go through the final corner here. Does lose a little bit of time on entry. That's usually a good sign. Yeah, he'll gate it again. This is going to be a fantastic lap, Alexis. What's it going to be? It's P2.
Fair play to Jamie Conboy. Not quite into the 32s, but he's damn well close to it. And he'll be, hey, he's chuffed with it. He's really pleased.
Yep, there we go. Love to see it. Did also see a comment in here from Connor Hine asking me, did I watch Split Green last night? Unfortunately, I didn't. But apparently a Macca on the top step. There we go. Brilliant. I'm going to go watch that replay, get myself all hyped up before I go to bed tonight. That's going to be fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. Here's your results for qualifying from 15 minutes. Of course, now we fast forward the session to 9 p.m. here in Italy at the Misano circuit. Still optimum out there as we expect, but 15 degrees Celsius now. That does, of course, bring in the question of grip and tire temperatures and things like that. We've seen, I think, in yesterday, a couple of people not getting that quite right. Of course, when you get a low grip scenario here at Misano, whether it's rain or nighttime or cold conditions, it just becomes, in my opinion at least, an infinitely more difficult track.
Yes, definitely. It's
So the grid will line up like this. Mia Rose has obviously taken pole position. Then Jamie Conboy, the late lap there, beautiful work from him, gets himself up into P2. Will send Breno Ellis and Ashton Reynolds back to the second row of the grid, followed by Joshua Vediger and Michael Babb, P5, P6. Chris Murphy takes a very solid P7, followed by Brent Sykes, P8 for him. Shane Lell will be in P9, and then Tom McDonald will round out your top 10 in the number 3. And I do believe he's in a BMW this season. So yeah, interesting to see. But yes, it should be an interesting one. I'm honestly, anything at Misano, I absolutely love to watch. I think a close battle to be had here for P2. I think all of those contenders behind Jamie Conboy are going to be nipping at his heels all the way through the beginning of this race, which is obviously also the danger zone.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna have probably incident or two early on in this race. Question is if Convoy can get the better start on the outside, because that is where the normal racing line is. So not as much rubber laid down already there. Should be nice and clean for him. So maybe a bit more traction for him. Of course, we do have a rolling start as we just look down the grid at these fantastic liveries.
Yeah, I got to take my hats off to Split Blue. Some absolute bangers out there this season. And I'm sure for those who don't have a livery maybe enabled at the moment, I think it might be one or two people, but hopefully we will see one very, very soon. Yes, there for the Mobile 1 McLaren, the Castrol Aston Martin, yeah, looking beautiful. Those colors just recognizable absolutely anywhere you look. Here is the gold and black McLaren. Love that one too. Yeah, some really good colors. You have to prove, and our broadcasts are giving us the nod of approval as well.
But have we seen Ben Dyke's livery?
Ooh, no, we haven't. Thank goodness we haven't. Yeah, keep the camera right there. There we go. That's perfect. Yeah, no, Alexis, I can't deal with that. I had Cadbury liveries yesterday, getting me salivating and wanted to eat chocolate, and now today I don't think I can deal with the candy livery.
I mean, there is a nice Cadbury purple livery there in P3, although if you call it Cadbury purple, you'll probably get sued by Cadbury.
Yeah, that's right. It's just generic purple. That's what it is. We've been asked a question, MCR asking what is the qualifying times like for the back half of the grid? Well, I think we were seeing somewhere between a high 134 and 36s, somewhere in that range, I believe.
Yeah, no, I'd have to take a look back, but either way, we've got a very good sized grid today here for Split Blue, which is always wonderful to see.
Yeah, we do have 30 cars on the grid. I just want to note something as well. We've got 26 kilometers of wind per hour. That is not a small amount of wind. I mean, usually we're used to values between 0 and like 10 or 11. 26 kilometers an hour is getting to the point of it being non-trivial, and maybe something that the drivers may have to think about a little bit. Looks like it is the wind direction that we see up the top right there is relative to the car that we're on board with. So is this going to be... This will be a tailwind, I believe, down the straight. Yes, it will be a tailwind down the straight. That could potentially complicate things into those fast right-handers, turn 11, 12, 13. But the drivers will have to just sort of feel their way through that part of the circuit. The important thing is to get through the first S's and Rio successfully. And once you're out heading towards turn 8, suddenly things start to simplify as we do now go side by side, getting ready for the race start. Still a few corners to navigate, though, Alexis. Should we do a little bit of predictions here? I think last time out I was putting my money on Mia Rose, and I think I'm going to do the same today. But
Ellis for the win.
Ellis for the win. Oh, nice, bold call there. Got to respect it though. What do we think P2? I think Jamie Conboy's got a real shot here of holding on to P2 this whole race.
Definitely.
If Mia doesn't make a mistake, then it's either P1 or P2 for him. So my money's on Conboy and Mia at the moment.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Well, we'll have 60 minutes of racing here for Split Blue. It will be Rose from Conboy, then Ellis, Reynolds, Vediger, Bab, Murphy, Sykes, Lele, and McDonald. Your top 10 will come up to the line very, very shortly to start this 60-minute night race here at Misano for Split Blue. 2 mandatory pit stops, and we are green, and it's a very, very good start from Conboy. Conboy might be able to brake late and hold around the outside of Mia Rose. Will now have the inside line, will Jamie, but gets loose on the exit, and that allows Mia to hold the P1 position for the now, but there's going to be a little bit of a move shaping up into turn 4 that has to take the outside, and that's never going to be easy, and I think we've got maybe a safety car as there's a bit of a calamity further back.
Yeah, it looks like a number of cars involved in that one. At least 3 or 4. Tom McDonald is wrapped up in that one too. So somewhere in the top 10, at the bottom of the top 10. And yeah, that is absolutely a safety car. We did have Ashton Reynolds jump up ahead of Breno Ellis at the start as well. So Breno Ellis not getting the best of starts. But yeah, I think the key thing there was Mia nearly lost that position immediately. And oh, there we go. Mitchell Bendick in his Lamborghini looks to maybe have been one of those involved in it. Let's take a look at the replay now and see what's happened towards the back half of the grid outside the top 10. That's Michael Babb under attack by a Aston Martin who sort of sends it up the middle between 2 McLarens. Does tag one of the McLarens, unfortunately. Bendick's in that. No, that is a BMW going round. There is contact. And there's going to be subsequent contact, no doubt. Bad rejoin.
Yeah,
Bendick gets sent round.
And hold the brakes.
Yeah. So that is just that is a bit of a disaster, unfortunately.
Yep, just a little bit going on here, a little bit going on there, a little bit going on everywhere, and unfortunately that's meant we've had to go under safety car, or at least the virtual safety car here. I mean, that's certainly one way of making us look at your livery there, Mr. Bendeich.
Yeah. Hey, you must have heard us on stream and went, well, watch this, hold my beer. I'm going to show you guys the live regardless because I'm going to be on the replays for the next 5 minutes.
Yes, and we'll surely get this race back underway very, very soon. It'll be Mia Rose in control of the field once again, and she should be going fairly soon. Jamie is trying to anticipate it.
He's doing a Max Verstappen right now. Not against the rules in Octane Online Racing as far as I know, but it's supposed to be single file as far as I'm aware.
Mia's going to wait until the very last moment. When is she going to go? And she's gone, and yep, she's caught Jamie a bit unawares there, so Mia should be clear for the time being. Will there be any moves further back? Yes, there is. That is Breno Ellis under pressure from Josh Vediger. Vediger can't get around the outside there of Ellis there. You got 2 wide further back into the chicane. Seem to have gotten through cleanly. But now with Conboy losing out on the restart, he's now under a bit of pressure from Reynolds. Now on board with Patrick Oliver is behind Johnston, trying to make a move into this very awkward complex. You're not going to do it there, son. And it seems everyone has managed to make it through clean. We've got Ben Deitch, Thistlethwaite, and I couldn't see the other driver that was in the pits. As that is a dive and a half from Ashlyn Reynolds up the inside of Jamie Conboy, if you don't mind. And that is a beautiful move to get himself back up, up in the P2 after starting P4 in this race.
Gets his elbows out 100%. And
that's
looks like Ellis is going to try too. The McLaren has been sent slightly wide there. Breno does back out of it slightly. This is going to let Joshua Vediger get a run on Breno Ellis now. So a little bit of elbows out racing at the start here. There was a huge sender to turn 8 by the BMW of Ashton Reynolds. Really took the advantage there. Whoa, that's a moment. Got to be so careful of that curb. It looks innocent enough until you run over it.
And that's wide from JC. And will they allow Ellis up the inside? And it does. So Ellis, can he get that third position? Jamie's going to try and hold it in there into the second last corner. He does. But it's going to be tight, and Ellis has got it done. They're still going 2 by 2 further back, and that is now the Porsche of Babb up the inside of Vediger, and he gets the move done on Josh Vediger. So up into the top 5 now for Babby. And well, there's been a bit of action. There's still action going on. We've got side by side between 2 Porsche sales, Murphy and Bracken, but they've held station for now. Now we've got Vedigo trying to get his way back past Babb and JC, trying to get back past Ellis, but so far things have been clean and exciting from all of these drivers.
Yeah, it's been elbows out racing, that's for sure, but yeah, it has been clean. No one's sort of coming off the worst.
Oh, JC, that is very wide again.
Yeah. Other than maybe JC, who's lost a number of positions in this race so far. I mean, I think that's going to be a lot of track limits there for JC. He's going to be probably nursing this car around, trying to avoid that drive-through penalty throughout the remainder of this race. 55 minutes left on the clock, possibly at 2 or 1 drive-through or track limit warnings already. He started that fight back against Breno. I think he feels like he's got the pace. Certainly does have the exit speed on most of these corners. He's on 3 now. Oh, dear. Okay, so JC is going to have to be very conservative for the remainder of this race. If he picks up the drive-through, you can basically say goodbye to a top 3 finish.
Oh, and that's wide from Ellis this time. The pressure going both ways, and that's JC up the inside, and that's to be contact. And that might be a little bit of a little bit of a, I don't know. Stewards will have a look at it.
I mean, I think at that point, Breno had the right to come back onto the racing line. He had rejoined the track, but Bab was sort of there already with a nose in, just a little bit of a nose. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's probably going to be a racing incident, that one. We will see. Crikey, though, it's quite exciting up the top here. Joshua Vediger now putting pressure on Breno Ellis, and maybe those Lamborghini's tyres just slightly overheated from the shenanigans that have been going on. Into Rio we go once again. And you can just see that all the cars out there, as soon as they get slightly sideways, they do immediately start to lose grip. Penalty coming out for Brent Sykes, the 454 Lamborghini. It's a 15-second penalty, so he may have been one of the ones involved in that early contact on lap 1, causing the safety car, and we might get a replay of that at some point, but we will keep an eye on that and see. In the meantime, Mia Rose, 2.7 seconds down the road.
As that's the number 33, picking up a drive-through penalty for causing collision. I believe that would be Perkins in the 296.
That is correct.
So that is a hefty paddle in that.
Yeah, I think that might have been for the rejoin, the unsafe rejoin, coming back onto the track and tagging Bendik. We have had a few pit stops already. Cameron Thistlewaite, Lee Perkins, we've just talked about, Mitchell Bendik, got Horsberg as well as Lachlan Parkin. 5 already coming in for their pit stops at this stage, and Tom McDonald starting to make his way back through the grid. Brimblecomb's had a big problem there, so there is a yellow flag out towards turn 10, I believe. Hopefully, we might get to see that on the replay. Let's take a little look and see what's happened here.
What's on with Brimblecombe? It's gone through pretty clean at the moment. I have a feeling it might be into this braking here. Yep, just runs too deep. And can't save it.
That snap there, it's just so painful, isn't it? I mean, you feel like you've got the car back on, but then, you know, as soon as the grip, you can't really tell when you're going to get the grip back, and as soon as you do, the car wants to turn the other way, and sort of all she wrote. It was just a little bit of a moment just as he reached the end towards the braking zone, towards the fast right-hander, and the car the rear end just did not want any part of that. It's a 992 Porsche, of course, so Porsches in their rear ends. Well, I think most of us know a few things about that.
Yes, most definitely. Looking on with Chris Murphy, who is putting a little bit of pressure on Vediger, who hasn't been able to get past Ellis as of yet, and that's a really nice run out of Tremonto for Murphy, but the Porsche won't have the greatest of straight line speed, especially compared to that BMW. So we'll need to try and do it into a corner, try and force the error from Josh Vediger.
And hopefully not run too wide. Well, there's another Porsche going very wide, and through goes
Bracken.
an Aston Martin. Yeah, that was Bracken. So Lel will go up to P8 for the time being. It does seem to be on those high-speed sections. The Porsche rear end just does not want to play ball for a lot of them.
As Sykes now has a drive-through for track limits. And we have another drive-through for track limits. That's Frushtuck. We're 9 minutes into this race, and there's already 2 drive-throughs for track limits.
See, when I was commentating on Split Yellow yesterday, we went 35 minutes without a drive-through, and I think we only had 1 or 2 in the race. But now here we are, 9 minutes in, nearly 10 minutes in, 2 drive-throughs on the track. Brent Sykes will go and serve his now, begin his fight back. In the meantime, we watch Jamie Conboy and his current attack on Ashton Reynolds. Obviously, got to be a bit aware that he's got Michael Babb in that Porsche behind him, but JC might find a place maybe at turn 8, which is where Ashton did overtake him, though thinks better of the move into there. Doesn't want to do a big send and a dive, because that can obviously turn out very, very badly. I think he's just going to try and aim to keep the slipstream, keep himself out of Babb's reach at the moment, and wait for a mistake from Reynolds, which I think it's a fair strategy, but it's going to be a better run out for JC, though.
Really good line through there, and now he's got the overlap coming up the inside of turn 11. He's not going to have the straight line speed to go with the BMW, though. So just may have got held up a little bit on the exit there, and now has to hold behind. But through these corners, the McLaren definitely looks the stronger of the two. And I mean, Reynolds is dropping a long way back from Miros. She's already 6 seconds clear and just hitting over 10 minutes into this race.
Yeah, gone. Literally gone at the moment. 5.8 seconds. But yeah, it's also, I mean, this is also the thing for Jamie Conboy is he's got those 3 track limits already. So anything that he does has to be done within the white lines, and any contact he makes might send him over those white lines. or an overtake or anything like that. That was getting to the point of being very, very close to getting that fourth warning. And he is just pushing the car as much as possible. I think this is a big opportunity into Rio, getting on the brakes and trying to send it up the inside, because if he can do that there, then it's a slow corner. There's not a lot to worry about in terms of track limits, except for the exit here. And he might be able to force Reynolds just that little bit wide. And if he can do that, then otherwise he has to wait for the exit here. BMW's going to pull away from him, and he'll have to do it into the braking zone, which he's not going to be able to. Bab sending it massively on the inside. It was a sort of wide entry, though, for a JC, wasn't it? But Bab just, cut straight in. Let's take another.
Bab was way too deep on it.
Yeah.
He just missed his braking point, and he was probably lucky to have not turned JC, so there won't be anything to really look at there, because there was a bit of a self-inflicted penalty applied by him half-spinning himself there. But unfortunate for Bab, who was doing well behind these two.
Yeah, he's dropped down to P9 now from P3. We just had Sam Bracken fly off the track as well. I think that was also at the high-speed section of the circuit. But yeah, this battle, at least for Convoy now, he doesn't have to worry about what's going on behind him. He can focus in on that BMW ahead. But yeah, Porsches, I've seen them go very, very deep on the brakes here. I don't know if it's a Porsche thing where the brakes just don't want to work in some cases, or we do know the Porsches are out to get their drivers in trouble. So it does seem like the Porsche has done that for Michael Babb this evening.
Yes, indeed. As we look down at Brimblecombe's currently sitting in P18. He's just go about his business after a little bit of a earlier moment going through the fast kink at turn 12. Now back up with Piper, who's piling the pressure on. Paddy Oliver is just holding that P10 position for the moment in his number 70 AVR Lamborghini.
They're not too far behind Ashley Johnston as well. He's going with the Mosaic Racing Aston Martin at the moment. And was it the best exit through turn 8 there for Pat Oliver? Piper's going to be right on him in his Audi. I think we've got two Audis on the grid. Yes, we do. Thistlewaite and Piper at the moment. So two Audis braving things around Misano. We're getting up to the point, Alexis, where we need to start thinking about when people start to execute their strategy. Are people running long? Are they doing a short stint initially? I've seen a lot of, Convoy.
That's going to be, he had to get on the brakes there.
He's just managed to keep it in the white lines, I think, there.
Yeah.
But that was so close to a moment. If he'd had one little bit less traction, that would have been it for him.
Look at his runs through that second last corner, though. And now, through the final corner, he's got a really good run. Can he try and get up the inside of Reynolds into turn 1? He's going to have to really dive for it, but he backs out of it, and that's probably the smart decision there, as Bab is now into the pits.
Yeah, it's so difficult to get a run up the pit straight unless you've had a really, really bad exit from turn 16. He's going to have it again here. Probably going to back out of this one as well, because there's really no room.
Narrow now.
Yeah, just being wide. It's the psychological pressure that he's got to apply, really, isn't it?
Yep, that's it, because I don't think there's any real way of Convoy getting past with the straight line speed difference between the BMW and the McLaren. He has to force that error out of Reynolds, and Reynolds is certainly mentally strong when it comes to these sorts of battles. He's a very experienced peddler.
Too right, yeah. I mean, with the McLaren being super quick through turn 14, 15, 16, there is an opportunity there towards the end of the lap, but it does risk going side by side into a area with apexes with a lot of curbs on the inside that can really throw the car off. So it's not really a place, yes, you're faster there, good place for an overtake, but it's also the riskiest place to go for an overtake. We'll keep an eye on him now as we go into turn 12 and turn 13. And yeah, the McLaren just does look oh dear. Yeah, it has to get out of it again. Maybe a little bit of aero wash just affecting the aerodynamics there of the aerodynamic grip of the McLaren potentially. But either way, it was just slightly offline for that try, and so he'll have to go again. He does decide to pit. Probably a sensible move, yeah. I was going to say, the undercut, get some clean air out there, or whatever clean air you can. Let's go to this battle. Pat Oliver, Piper, and now Kidman and Lewis involved in it.
Yeah, it looks like there was a little bit of a side-by-side there between Piper and Oliver going through turn 14 and 15, but Oliver's managed to hold on to it for now. But the promoval entry of Piper in the Audi is definitely looking strong and is trying to maximize the exit out of 2. get a nice shallow run through turn 3 and maybe go for a dive into turn 4, and he is going to have a go, but he has to be mindful of Kidman just behind. It's going to be a bit of a gaggle of cars here very, very soon. Now, what's the exit like for Oliver? It looked very strong, so he should be fine going into this next corner at Quersha. But now we see in the background, that is Lewis trying to go up the inside of Kidman. We can see it all from the back of Paddy Oliver. Kidman tries to hold the outside line. That does turn into the inside at the next corner. They're going to keep going side by side. Kidman on the inside, Lewis on the outside. Lewis breaks late, but he's not going to get a lot of... There's a little bit of a tap. But Kidman does hold on.
I mean, McLaren trying to outbrake a Ferrari doesn't usually work, so, Kidman does go very deep, and, Lewis, rightly so, has to then sort of back out of the move. But, earlier on in that, obviously, it was Kidman looking opportunistic through Rio, but that did put Piper just a little bit offline and gave Paddy Oliver just a little bit of breathing room. That breathing room has evaporated almost immediately as Piper now is back on the... Is that another drive-through?
Yes,
another drive-through. Car 5 drive-through. No good there. That's not ideal. Piper does come into the pit, so another undercut opportunity here for the likes of Piper. And that could be massive. Ashley Johnston also coming into the pits. So, yeah, flurry of pit activity now. 17 minutes, so not quite at the 20-minute mark. So maybe they're just going to go for a little bit of a longer run through the middle of this race, and maybe another short pit stop towards the end.
So car 5 is Reed, from what I can tell. So he'll be a bit further down the field.
I've just had a chat message come in from the YouTube. Tom Frustruck has had his steering wheel drop out in the pits trying to serve a drive-through. Had to DC and reconnect and had to serve the penalty for coming back in the server. Wheel not still working, so he's had to quit. That's a real shame for Frustruck to unfortunately be out of this race so early on. Was up in the top 20, I believe. So commiserations. That is a very unlucky scenario to be. That's 2 races that I've been in this week where we've had wheels do some really dodgy things, hardware related. So
what you're saying is basically don't let George Cook commentate your race, or else your wheel's going to... Drive through for Murphy.
Oh, that's massive. Okay.
I did hear that he had 3 warnings earlier on, and we'll just see. Yeah, there it is. And he didn't slow down enough.
He'll be fuming from that. That's just, it's so gutting to get a drive through, especially at a track like this, when to drive fast is to drive so close to the limit. But yeah, I'm here inventing new ways to curse people. It's just, it's just magic.
Random chance.
Yeah.
A couple more drivers coming. This is Pat Oliver in, so he's reacting to the earlier stop by Piper.
Joshua Vediger also in now. He was running fairly high up. I think we'll see Mia potentially come in about a minute and a half. Might do another lap after this one. But, she's got a huge gap. 11.7 seconds the gap. It's just gone up to 12 seconds. 12 seconds the gap between Mia Rose and Ashton Reynolds at this stage. Of course, Reynolds, he's been doing a little bit of battling with JC.
Who has a drive-through?
Oh, there we go. Right.
He got his track limits drive-through.
Oh, okay. He's going to serve it immediately. Wow, this is drive-through city right now.
Indeed it is, and well, that's very unfortunate for JC, but you could almost say it was inevitable given the early warnings.
Yeah, he had the 3 warnings early on. Yeah, at 55 minutes through to have 3 warnings. It's just inevitable at that point. So, yeah, we may see some more, but at least he'll be free to race to his full capacity now, not worrying too much about those drive-through track limits for the rest of the race, hopefully. But I think we may see a few more get close to that drive-through and just have to be a little bit more conservative, because it does play on your mind as a driver when you've got those 3 track cuts. Suddenly, every lap is a lot more stressful.
Yes, indeed. You have to be so much more aware of where you are situated on track, and if you do end up running a little bit wide, you have to come off the throttle quite significantly, depending on where the game detects whether you've gained an advantage from going off track or not.
Yep, that's right. Not always easy to tell exactly how much liftoff is required.
Well, that was a little
That's
bit of a cut.
impressive cut there from Lewis. Ferrari was strangely stable through that, but wrangled nicely by Steve Lewis, and he's still continuing this fight with Kidman up ahead. And Kidman's holding on quite nicely at the moment. This could be potentially a good result. We've got a few pits around, so the order is provisional as it stands right now. Ashton Reynolds still to pit, Mia Rose still to pit, Ellis still to pit, Lel, and Kidman and Lewis, the ones we're on board with right now.
What has happened to Paddy Oliver? He's come out a long way behind Benjamin Piper. Piper is in what should be P16 in a minute, and Oliver is a long way back, is looking on with Bab going through the last corner.
Bab and Reynolds.
That's a bit wide there from Babs. That will be a track limits.
It will be. He's got Ashley Johnson in tow at the moment. So it must have been an overtake on Ashley Johnson at this point. I think this is all just part of Michael Babb making his way back through the field after the incident that he was involved in earlier on that took him away from P3, sent him down to P9. So has made his way back up in front of the Aston Martin of Ashley Johnston, who will continue round as well. I was saying it before, the Aston Martin's pretty unruly car to wrangle around the course here, but you can set it up in so many ways. You can make it palatable, let's put it that way. Mia Rose completed her pit stop, still holds fastest lap out there. It is a 1:32.9, her fastest lap, and that's with, I would say, sort of semi-race fuel, because you're never going to take a fuel tank in a stint for any stint that you have a 2 mandatory pit stop in the race for. So 37 minutes on the clock. Mia will come back out with her same lead of about 12 seconds or so. And yeah, flurry of pit activity at the moment. There is an interesting thing. I mean, you can run a bit longer into this race, but for me at least, I always favor that sort of undercut, and it will be interesting to see what JC's undercut on Ashton Reynolds is going to look like. Ashton Reynolds is still yet to pit, so has JC done enough? But doesn't matter.
JC got his drive-through,
so exactly, yeah, it would have been a nice battle to watch actually, but
it'll be interesting to see whether Vediger can get ahead of Reynolds though in the stops. Although looks like it was Breno Ellis who managed to get the jump on Vediger as well. So it's a 16 with a drive-through penalty now. The number 16 is Spenceley.
Yes, yeah. Well, Vediger's got some good pace out there. I mean, he's setting 34 flats at the moment, dipping into the 33s. Reynolds' last lap was a 34.5. Best this session has been a 33.9. So it's not like his pace is absolutely mega, but I do wonder if maybe Ashton Reynolds is thinking of going long for this first stint.
Yeah, try and go quality stints for the last two. Maximize the pace where possible. There's Steve Lewis now all over the back of McDonald, who did go a little bit wide at Tremonto. The BMW is just so good, as that is penalty for car 8 for 10-second penalty for car 8, which is Lel for causing a collision.
Have they got into the pits at the right time to serve that? No, they're actually just... Oh, they might have. No, I think they're going to come out on circuit and then that'll be applied. Yeah, there it is. So that's really unlucky because in some ways unlucky, in some ways it doesn't really matter that much, but they were just coming out of the pits as that penalty was applied.
Oh, well, he will serve it at the next stop that he performs.
Exactly right.
Here is Reynolds, and Reynolds, he is coming in now, so it's going to have about 2 17-minute stints to finish off this race.
It's going to be pretty good. He's going to be fighting with Ellis, I think, on the exit here. Ellis, Vediger, and Babb.
Oh, Mia Rose with 15-second penalty.
Oh, wow. Well, where on earth does that come from?
That's for causing a collision. So there has been some form of contact involving Mia Rose, and she's been given the 15 seconds for it.
Must be coming through traffic, I suppose. Because obviously she doesn't have a competitor nearby at the moment, so it must have been coming through a bit of blue flag traffic and maybe getting a little bit eager. Lap 13 hit a blue flag car. There we go.
I mean, it's one way of getting the blue flags out of your way, but I will also say it is not the way you're meant to do it.
No, that's right. I think, when you've got an advantage like that, sometimes it's better just to take a moment Who knows? We'll have to see it. We'll have to see it on a replay to really judge it, and to our limited ability here in the comms box, no replays tonight of that. So unfortunately, we won't see it. But nonetheless, 15-second penalty at the moment. I think just before she pitted, I think it was a 12 or 13-second gap. So that could actually affect the lead of this race.
Well, just looking, Reynolds is just coming out now, and I think it's going to be tight between him and Ellis, but he's just gotten out ahead of Ellis.
Oh, only just though. I mean, look at that. Ellis is right on him, so essentially replacing where JC would have been. In fact, I think if JC hadn't had that drive-through, he would have been ahead of Reynolds.
Most likely. But now Ellis is in the slipstream and has those warmer tyres than Reynolds. So he might be able to go for a bit of a move up here into turn 8 at Quersher. Tries to dive it, but it was a little bit half-hearted in it. And is back out. But now he's compromised the run of Reynolds a little bit. Is now going to try and go around the outside. You're not going to get anything done there. What you can do is compromise the line of Reynolds, and does so a little bit. And look at how close he is.
Oh, very close. We almost didn't have the opportunity to get the slipstream there. It does, but every time he pulls out into the air, that Lamborghini just slips back a little bit. Not going to try side by side here. No, that's very, very sensible. Not going to be an opportunity here into turn 14 for the Lamborghini, but that is Joshua Vedegar. So this is a three-way battle for P2 right now. And we'll keep an eye on the gap between Mia Rose and Ashlyn Reynolds. I think it has gone beyond 15. Yeah, I thought it had gone beyond 15 seconds. So that penalty might not come into play at this stage.
Well, it depends on how everything else goes from here, because of course Reynolds will be on slightly fresher tyres during this stint, so may have a little bit of pace to show for it. And well, either way, it will bring Mia Rose much closer to this battle come the next pit stop.
We do have a yellow flag. The number 70 car has just gone for a bit of an accident.
That's over.
I think with the 83. Yes, indeed. And drive through. There we go. There's another one.
Thistle fight this time. Paige likes to call him affectionately, of course, Thistle fart. Whistle fart, that is. As this is Oliver now coming into the pits after the bit of an incident that he had earlier on at turn 13.
We've got number 7. There's another drive through. Brimblecombe. Yeah.
You get a drive through. You get a drive through. Everyone gets a drive through.
Yep. Line up. Take your ticket. You'll get one eventually. Just got to wait. Just got to be patient. That's all it takes. Just a little bit of patience. You'll get that drive through. Don't worry about it. There are a couple of cars out there with 2 pit stops still to do. So Chris Murphy and Brent Sykes both running very, very deep. Looks like they're going to be going for an initial stint of 30 minutes or so. Don't imagine that they'll do 40 minutes, although 2 10-minute stints does seem a little bit pointless, because you're not really, your tyres are only just going to come up to temperature and you'll be back in the pits.
It is essentially pointless.
Michael Babb has dropped. We have lost Michael Babb from the server for reasons unknown. What a shame.
But disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Pretty much. Yep. So the Porsche driver and Michael Babb no longer with us in the race. I mean, maybe he'll rejoin. It's entirely possible, but he'll have to sit in the pits for quite a while. This battle for P13, P14 is going to be absolutely wild, but at the moment we still continue to focus on Ellis fighting with Reynolds. 2 cars ahead of them still to do their first pit stop. Don't believe they're catching them at this stage. Actually, no, that is Brent Sykes at the front of this. So suddenly Brent Sykes is going to find himself in a 3-way battle, now going to be a 4-way battle for provisional P3 in this race. So I think he will be pitting. I get the feeling he'll pit this lap.
Yeah, he won't want to hold these drivers up. He won't want to hold himself up getting caught in this traffic. But the gap now between Mia and Ashlyn is 19 seconds. So Mia's gotten that penalty, taken it on the chin, and has just gone, all right, I'll lay down some fast times then.
Yeah, I guess the solution, in the words of Jeremy Clarkson, the solution to Jeremy Clarkson, the solution to everything, speed and power. And certainly that is the motto that Mia is taking tonight. In comes Brent Sykes to the pits. That is absolutely expected. On board now with Cameron Thistlewaite. And ahead of him, I believe, that is Bracken. So A little bit of battle going on here for P13. Drive-through served by the number 7, that's Brimblecombe. So that was going to be the battle for P13. The drive-through will have to be served by Thistlewaite in the next couple of laps. But this three-way battle, yeah, it will be this lap. Yeah, this three-way battle will continue. Joshua Vediger being nice and patient. I think that's the right approach to this kind of situation.
Yes, most definitely. He's doesn't really want to try and make a move on LSs, otherwise they may lose touch to Reynolds. He's just got to bide his time and hope that the two in front of him have a little bit of a battle and he can have his own through goes Hamilton moment.
Yep, 2-for-1 deals. When you see them, you take them.
I mean, you're talking a 2-for-1 deal. You get you can buy the burger on its own, or you can get a burger with chips and a Coke Zero.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, and you know what? They're going to throw in a Cadbury bar anyway. Number 36 does clear their drive-through penalties this away. Yep, Joshua Vediger is dropping slightly off the back of these two, but again, just playing the patience game at the moment. Doesn't look like Breno Ellis is really finding that pace now. Possible that Reynolds has sort of found the gear that he needs to be in, and will start to drive away from it. I think his last lap there was a 34.1, whereas Breno Ellis' last lap was a 34.2. I'll keep an eye on that as they come across the line once again.
Still pretty identical between the two.
Yeah, 33.9, 33.9, 34.0, so pretty much equal on the times at the moment. Lamborghini looking very good into the braking zone of the first S's. Does lose a little bit on the traction on the exit of the S's. We'll see him gain a little bit more into Rio once again, and then he'll lose it on the exit of Rio, heading down towards turn 8. So it's sort of just a back and forth battle really at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, most definitely, as we now jump on board Jamie Conboy, who was one of the drivers who picked up a drive-through earlier on this race. He's now behind Spidey. There's Simon Scanlon there in P14, the 115 BMW.
He's made up a few positions. I'm not quite sure what position JC dropped down to after that drive-through, but it would have been fairly far down the grid. He's had a few ahead of him now go ahead and serve a drive-through, so he should be in a position to make a few overtakes if he can just put his pedal down at the right time and not get more track limit warnings. He should be in a good position to advance himself in this field quite a bit. Chris Murphy in behind as well, so Chris will be wanting to be right on the back of JC as he makes his way through the field. Might be able to find himself a couple of free overtakes as well.
Yes, definitely. Murphy was another one of the drivers who picked up a drive-through earlier on, so he'll just be wanting to follow JC the best that he can. With those drive-throughs, the order of the field has shaken up a fair bit. Of course, we got JC and Murphy a little bit further down in the order. We've also got Kidman there currently sitting P8 and what would be P1 after Lel's penalty, but of course have pit stops in between then. Seems the gap between Rose and Reynolds is still growing and growing, so Rose has essentially nullified her own penalty just through her own speed, like 22 seconds. Would still be 7 seconds after the stops if those penalties were applied now.
Well, that's right. And when you're doing 132s consistently, last lap was a 132.967 from Mia. Best lap this stint, 132.6 flat.
You're joking.
Absolutely wild kind of pace. Oh, JC, it's a little bit wide there, mate.
JC, don't get another one.
I feel like that was definitely a track warning there. So, yeah, he's on track to maybe give himself another headache in this race, which would be a shame to see. But yeah, 32.6 now, the fastest lap from Mia Rose. The pace is just absolutely nuts.
That's unreal. That's rivaling her own qualifying time.
Yeah, I think the qualifying time, she was in the 32.8 initially, wasn't she? And then that did drop a fair bit. JC nearly runs a bit deep there. We'll get a good run on the BMW, though, this time. That's a bit of a moment for Small, I think it is, out front. So he's going to be in a little bit of trouble, potentially.
Vediger's gone for the undercut.
Ooh. That could be very spicy, actually.
Oh.
And actually, you're at the back of the 3-car train. That's the sensible thing to do. Oh, JC trying to go around the outside, but there is a McLaren in the way. BMW does get ahead, but it's going to be the outside line for them. Oh, but yeah, Small does back out of it. Nearly backs out of it so much that JC goes into the back of him. Through goes the BMW of Scanlon and up into P13.
Very
now
well.
P12.
It was a very well executed move, as we're just looking in chat, and Babby has confirmed that his disconnect was due to a power failure.
Oh no. Oh mate, commiserations. That is absolutely rubbish. That sucks.
Be sure to give the power core a very large invoice. And by invoice, I mean a lot of words, I suppose, as that is wide from Ethan Small, and that should allow Convoy up the inside into Quershot. He's backed out of it though.
Oh, yeah, he's really backed out of it. I hope it's not another situation that he's already on three track limits and just didn't want to get involved in anything potentially. But he was side by side. He could have taken that opportunity there. Maybe just favouring of doing it on the straight. It doesn't take a particularly good drive either. So yeah, interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, intriguing strategy there, as we see Ellis is now in, so reacting to Vediger's potential undercut. And yeah, Convoy just doesn't seem to quite have the alignment with the car at the minute. Very interesting.
We'll keep an eye on him. I mean, JC's been showing us he's got so much pace through a lot of these corners. It's really just some of the entries that he's just a little bit cautious on. Turn 8 specifically, he has been cautious through there. Initially, we did see him sort of, stop go 30 for the number 33 car. That is Perkins. So Lee Perkins picks up a stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. You hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it, especially at a track like this.
Massive
yeah,
yikes.
what can you do? Yeah.
I mean, what you could do, don't speed in pit lane.
You could do that.
Because if you get an automatic stop go 30 for speeding in pit lane, you sped in pit lane by a substantial amount. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it's a non-significant amount, 10 to 20 kilometers an hour sort of over. So I do wonder if that must have been on entry though. I mean, the entry here is, I would say, fairly straightforward. You've got a pretty obvious marker for the most part. As soon as you brake to come around the corner, you can do a little blip on the accelerator, and then you just harden the brakes. And you usually slow down to about exactly 50 just as you reach the line. So I find this to be one of the easier pit entries. Not to say that it's not got its quirks to it. Into the pits comes a couple, including Steve Lewis.
That looks like a fairly late call from Steve Lewis, but he's made it in regardless. And just looking further down the field, Ellis has managed to stay ahead of Vediger through the pit stop phase.
Oh, and I've noticed a familiar face in the chat on Twitch side. It is 00 Raven, for those who know, then you know. Welcome in, John. Lovely to have you in here. Lovely to have everyone in here, of course, in chat. Pleasure to have you all around for this race. 21 minutes on the clock, Alexis. With the pit strategies now starting to evolve a little bit, we're coming up to the crunch point. Next 6 minutes or so, everyone's going to have completed that final pit stop of theirs, and I think we'll be in to see where things have actually ended up in terms of the race. JC has gone through on Small. We did see that, or didn't see that actually. I thought that was at turn 8, but obviously he's got it done at some point. Now Chris Murphy will have his turn going after Small too, but JC's got to now chase down Scanlon. Still a pit stop to do for all of these cars on screen right now.
Yes, indeed. We'll need to keep an eye on many things. Piper and Lewis still in the pits. They'll just be coming out very, very soon. On board with me, Rosu is now getting caught up in a little bit of traffic. In fact, that looks like it is Corrin and Vediger. So getting past Corrin. Corrin's not making it easy. But yeah, no, that is that's Vediger, who is about to be lapped. Of course, there is a difference in the number of pit stops made. But,
that is right. Still does tell a tale though. 26 seconds the gap between Mia Rose and Ashton Reynolds, and yeah, continuing to set 32s. It's consistent 132.9s at the moment. from Mia Rose. So it is very impressive pace. The temperature has dropped by 1 degree Celsius over the last 40 minutes, so it is slightly cooler out there. But as per the other splits, we probably won't see it drop any further at this stage, so it should be relatively stable at the moment. But yeah, Vedega's going to have to move aside for the 909 Lamborghini in short order.
Or Mia just comes into the pits.
There we go. Okay, so she will serve her 15-second penalty during this pit stop. But as we've determined before, I think our math is right on this, Alexis, for once. Yeah, she's not going to lose a position from this to Ashton Reynolds.
She's going to have an 11-second lead by the time that Reynolds does his pit stop.
Just the pace has been extreme. But my question here is going to be, when does Reynolds consider pitting? He went for a bit of a longer stint initially, so it was about 13 minutes. I get the feeling he's going to do a couple more laps. Oh, stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. Not sure who that was for.
It was number 16. That is Spenceley.
Oh, dear. So we've had 2 stop go 30s for speeding. We've had, what, 8 drive-throughs so far in this race?
Umptillion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, JC running wide again.
JC trying to make it umptillion and 1.
Yeah, I'm really worried for his second drive through here. It may be approaching faster than all of us want it to.
Would not surprise me if he only has 1 warning left in reserve. There you can see number 16 down in P26 with that stop go 30. Board with Brimblecombe, who is trying to close in on the Lamborghini of Pat Oliver. Sort of holding in there. Oh, he's getting very loose in that Porsche. That Porsche is doing many Porsche things right now.
Yeah, I wonder if his tyre pressures are not quite where they need to be, because, yeah, that was... the car just did not want to play ball there at all. Tried to get the accelerator down. And just nothing happened, really. Just the car just sort of went, oh, I'm just going to go straight ahead. Oh, you want to turn? No, sorry, I'm not going to do that right now. We've got Ashley Johnston and Bracken coming into the pits now to serve their final one. Oh, Reynolds in. Okay. So here we go. It's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out.
So the gap
Ellis has done enough.
Gap between Rose and Ellis is 11.8 seconds. It is going to be ultra tight between Ellis and Reynolds here.
I feel like Reynolds might have just done enough. That last lap there for Breno Ellis was a 34.330, so that wasn't the best last lap there for Ellis. But we're just going to have to see. It's going to be about 20 or 30 seconds until we do figure out who's going to come out on top. Can get tricky if you're side by side with a competitor on the exit of the pit lane. Space obviously does have to be given, but it can be a really, really tricky scenario if that goes side by side, especially into Rio.
Yes, most definitely. And Reynolds is now moving. He does have a fair way to go down the pit lane. Rose will get by with ease. We'll keep an eye on where Ellis is. Ellis is just coming around the final corner now.
Yep. Oh, I think he might have just done enough here.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah, he's still got to navigate turn 1, turn 2. It is going to be very tight.
I think Reynolds has
it. Turn 2
it.
goes Ellis. I think Reynolds just going to get out ahead. Yeah, it's very close, but not quite enough for Breno Ellis. He'll have warmer tyres, of course, but we saw Reynolds get up to speed, and once he got up to speed, it was looking pretty comfortable in the BMW. So actually the gaps increased just a little bit. So the undercut not working in this scenario for Breno Ellis.
The undercut hasn't really worked for many out there tonight by the looks of things. And the gap between Rose and Reynolds, yep, 10.9 seconds.
Ooh. Yeah. So, it was going to be close. I mean, even for Joshua Vedega, I mean, he's fallen now 2.4 seconds behind Ellis. So, yeah, the undercut has not worked at all at this stage from what we can tell. On board now with the battle for P19. I think that's Pat Oliver in ahead in the AVR Lamborghini, and this is Brimblecombe we're on board with right now. So Porsche versus Lamborghini.
Yep.
Drive through for track limits, number 7. Oh dear.
That's his second for the night.
Yep.
And it did look a little bit wide going through that final corner, and yep. The shake of disapproval from Cricky.
I think that might be what we call a broadcast curse.
Oh,
as
it
soon as we put the
did
camera
look
on
like Brimblecom was actually just going for the move there as we jumped to Convoy, who is in the pits. And there you go,
Yeah,
Brimblecom
Brimblecom's
has
done it.
managed to get past. A little bit of the Lance Stroll at Monaco moment.
Yeah. And, you know, I guess the thinking,
Oh!
okay, that was a close one there.
That was nearly a Lance Stroll at Shanghai moment.
That's right, yeah. All sorts of Lance Stroll right on track for our viewing pleasure, as always. That was incredibly close. Good on Pat Oliver. He did see it coming and backed right out of it. But that was very close to a moment. I mean, I guess hats off to Brimblecombe for getting the overtake executed at Rio. That's what you've got to do at the end of the day, but drive-through is going to just undo all of that good work. I think only got Brent Sykes now to come into the pits. Suspect that'll be happening this lap. No, we've got a couple more. Scanlon and Chris Murphy still out there as well, so probably going for shorter stints at the end. Lel will come in as well. They were leading Pro-Am class, but with a 10-second penalty, that might put it in the hands of Kidman once again. So we'll keep an eye on that. Leading silver class at the moment, it'll be Breno Ellis. Yes, it has the red tag there, but we do know that he is in the silver category of drivers. So we shall see.
Scanlon's in, Murphy's kept going. Chris Murphy will probably pit at the end of this lap, I would say.
I think it makes sense to me. As we said before, there's not a lot of point to a 10-minute stint.
Yeah, that's it. You don't get too many laps on the tyres at their optimal. They do take a little bit to get up temperature, especially in these temperatures. Because Bruno Ellis, he's really got the pace going here, the back of Reynolds, and there is a blue flag car in front that may just play a little bit in the hands, but does get out of the way nicely. Does that Lamborghini there?
Yeah, Breno's doing very well. He's caught up a sort of almost a full second on Ashton Reynolds, and now putting the pressure on. I don't know if Reynolds is just still trying to get those tires up into the window. I mean, in these conditions at 9:53 p.m. server time, it does take a little while for the feel in the tires to come back to you, and that might be just affecting the BMW a little more than Reynolds would like at the moment. It does give advantage into the ballpark of Breno Ellis. I mean, at this stage, he's got the silver category sort of almost in the bag, so he doesn't need to necessarily take a P2, but, you know, the racing driver in all of us says, if you can take the position, then I will.
I mean, catching is one thing, overtaking is another, so you may have the pace advantage right now over Reynolds, but really try and get past us. We got a hell of a gaggle here. That's McDonald getting past the blue flag there. Oh, and Lel's run wide getting past that blue flag. And everyone else seems to have gotten through fairly okay. So we got a nice train here with McDonald, Lel, Piper, and Lewis all involved, as Murphy now does come into the pits.
Got to take my hats off to Tom McDonald. What a comeback drive. We haven't focused on this a lot throughout the race, but, you know, he did get spun early on. I think he qualified in P9 or P10 at the beginning of this race.
It was P9.
Went all the way, was P9, yeah. He went all the way to the back after that first incident in the S's on lap 1, and he's just, you know, he's just kept his head, you know, head down, focused on his laps, and, you know, he's pulled us really, really nicely back. I mean, he's actually up a position on where he started the race, and despite the accident. So
up 2 positions now, thanks to Murphy's pit stop.
Oh, yes, very true, yeah. This is the benefit of not getting a drive-through. Honestly, that will be a big part of some of this comeback, but not to take away anything from Tom McDonald. He's obviously overtaken and had the pace to do so all the way throughout this race, so my hat's off at the moment to him.
Certainly, but he's now under a bit of pressure from the drivers behind, including Lel, Piper, and now it's Lewis up the inside of Piper and up into P9 for the Ferrari, but the old switcheroo from Piper on the outside now, he's not going to get that done there. Maybe I'll just compromise the line of Lewis a little bit, but I think they should hold there for now, and Lewis will be certified in that P9 position for the moment.
Yeah, I suspect it would have been a bit of a stretch for the Audi to try and outbrake the Ferrari on the outside, just given the nature of the 296 at the moment with the way that it does handle into the corners. So all Lewis had to do was brake normally and get on the line to get the exit, and he was going to be pretty safe for that one. But Piper will continue to try the fight back. Back on board with the battle for P2, Breno Ellis versus Reynolds. And yeah, he's been caught up, but this overtake proving to be a little bit more difficult for Ellis than he might hope. He might also just be driving a bit conservatively here and just saying, look, you know, if the overtake opportunity comes my way, we'll take it. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Oh, no!
Drive through
the number 3 and the number 8.
Well.
Simultaneous.
You jinxed it. You jinxed it.
No, I'm not going to claim that one. I'm not, but let's take a look.
Were you not the one who said that this is the benefit of not getting a drive-through?
Yes, I did say that. Yeah, I did say that. Oh dear, yeah, there's one off track. Yeah, oh dear.
It's a pretty tight off track, but it's off track.
Yeah, it certainly is. Oh, that's a disaster for them. So Tom McDonald and Eshen Lel will both pick up a drive-through penalty with 8.5 minutes on the clock. And, I mean, I can imagine it being getting a drive-through in more frustrating circumstances. We saw yesterday for Split Yellow, we saw a car get a drive-through on the lap that they needed to pit for fuel. So had to do a full lap, basically with 0 fuel in the car, crawling around the track to then to serve the drive-through, crawl around the track and then go into the pit lane to get refueled. So it can come at worse times, but when you're fighting for P7, P8 with 8 minutes left on the clock, can't imagine a worse feelings for those drivers.
Devastating as well with less than 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Convoy.
maybe a move on boy here.
Trying to get it done on Scanlon. Can't really get it done through Kink. He's going to have to go around the outside, and he runs off the road. And he's had to back out of it a fair way as well to try and avoid a drive-through penalty of his own. As now Murphy is going to get through on Scanlon around the outside. This is going to be very, very tight. Does keep it on the road, maybe a little bit of a tap. Now Scanlon tries to hold, and there's contact.
Oh, luckily he's not gone into the barriers. Chris Murphy was, I think, entitled to the outside line there.
Yep.
So, but I mean, we talked about a 2-for-1 deal, Alexis. Well, we've just seen one, essentially. Not the cleanest 2-for-1 deal of all time, but there you go. Through goes Hamilton.
Well, through goes Murphy in this instance. Hamilton raced last night in split green.
Yes, that's true. Hamilton, yes, of course. Yeah, that's very true. So Murphy, 2-for-1. Very nice. Drive-through cleared by the number 3 and the number 8. Both of them coming in immediately. We did see the number 19, I think it was, beached for just a little bit on the final corner too. 16, sorry, number 16 was beached there for a little bit. Spenceley, so he's not having a great race either, unfortunately. But now we'll go on board with Breno Ellis and see what he's able to do.
There's a little bit of a blue flag happening in front, and he is a bit closer on this occasion. The black and gold McLaren lets him through. Now, is he going to go for a dive into turn 1? He does have a look, but can't quite get it on the braking, although Breno Ellis is looking really good here. 33.7 on the last lap by the looks of things on the relative there.
I'd say overall the Lamborghini is just looking very, very strong. I mean, it's so
Especially
good on the brakes at the moment. Yeah, it's just that, yeah, it's so much deeper than, I mean, it's sort of Ferrari 296 level braking, but then it also has the run out of the corners and has a decent sort of mid-range speed on it too. So it's just such a balanced piece of machinery here at Misano.
Jack of all
whether
trades.
it's balanced and jack of all trades. Whether it's balanced in terms of the other cars, I think that's up for debate. I think we are running the custom bop tonight. I think it's LFM bop, I believe we're running.
Convoy's in the pits.
Oh. That's interesting.
Question mark?
Words escape us. We're not sure what's going on here. Convoy may have had to pull in for potentially hardware reasons or some other reasons outside of racing.
Well, that was wide from Reynolds, and that's allowed Ellis to just stick the nose up the inside of the turn 14 at Caro. And now, the beautiful run out of the second to last corner is a little bit of a nose to rear tap. But so far, they've kept things nice and clear. Now, Ellis has a really, really good run. Is he going to go around the outside into turn 1? He's going to have to force the issue if he does. And that's going to compromise his run for the rest of this first sector.
This is very exciting for Breno Ellis. I mean, he might be able to pick up a P2 here. Ashton Reynolds won't want any of that if he can avoid it. But yeah, the BMW is just looking a little bit worse for wear at the moment. I don't think there's any damage on the car, so it's just the way that it's handling at the moment. It's just not a comparison for a safe pair of hands and a Lamborghini at Misano. And 4.5 minutes left on the clock now, so there is potential opportunity. About 5 laps or 4 or 5 laps left to go, depends on where Mia is. She's currently on the 33rd lap of this race, so someone might be able to go and figure that one out. Convoy is just nowhere to be seen though, so yeah, at the moment all I can say is he's probably down and out. He's on P24, hasn't left the pits, or he has left the pits now.
He has, yep.
Yes, he's gotten going again. What a shame. We have had a few commiserations to pass out to drivers. This race wouldn't be Misano without it, honestly.
Yeah, it's a very tricky technical track to get right. And when you're managing so many things all at once, one little mistake, whether that be in your driving or in the strategy, can curtail your efforts tenfold. As that is close from Breno Ellis. He gets so close into that hairpin there at Carrow at turn 14. Just can't do anything with it now. He does just keep it within the track limits, but very loose on the inside sausage curbs.
I mean, yeah, you've got like a couple of centimeters on the end there. If you run over the grass, there's a big bump at that point that will launch the car sideways into the final corner. Luckily, it does give the car wrangle back on track just for that moment.
Oh, my lord.
I mean, this is the BMW. He wants it. The BMW is just trying to open up that corner, I think, maximize its run off the line, which seems to be where the advantage lies for Reynolds at the moment, because it's certainly not into the corners, whereas the Lamborghinis are able to break really deep into the corners, get the rotation, and get the power on, and still be relatively equal in terms of the final speed when they enter the next braking zone.
And yeah, at this point, Ellis can go for it because Vettiger is 5.5 seconds behind these two. Oh, and that's deep from Reynolds. That may open the opportunity for Ellis to go around the outside. He might just back out of it and allow Reynolds to compromise his run through here. Try and get the better exit. In doing so, Reynolds very loose on the exit. Now, with the slipstream, Ellis, is he going to try and get the overlap? He's getting a lot of speed. He has to go around the outside. You're not going to get it done there, lad.
Oh, it's a tricky scenario. Obviously, we know the Lamborghini is better on its brakes, but the outside line through it just does not work, especially through...
That was brilliant car positioning from Reynolds there.
Yeah, there was no opportunity for Breno at all. That BMW was just positioned to perfection.
Breno looks so much stronger than Reynolds right now.
Oh, it does. I mean, it feels like an inevitability, but we've only got 2 minutes left on the clock now, so Breno's either going to have to find an opportunity now or sort of
he's got 2 laps to do it. Like, this lap and next lap as Sykes picks up a drive-through penalty now.
Oh, no. So there's another one. Get DJ Khaled in here quick.
Another one.
And another one. We digress. Yeah, I'm fascinated because if Breno Ellis is able to pull a move here, that will be a P2 for him and a silver category win. That'll be huge for him in this season. Ashton Reynolds, of course, has fought the good fight so far. You know, defensive masterclass from him in some ways. He's looked at where the Lamborghini behind him is strong. It's fairly evident as to where that is. Maybe a little bit deep and wide there from the 17. But yeah, Ashton Reynolds just sort of analyzing his opponent right now to perfection and sort of really optimizing the places that he needs to be defensive and then put the car in the middle of the road. I mean, it was never going to happen down the long back straight that first time round. We'll go for another round now, slipstream, but he's much further back. Is Breno Ellis, so probably won't be an opportunity.
Might allow him for a better run this time.
Yeah, well, that's very true, actually, yeah.
Here he comes. Where's the braking? He's braking very late, and that's deep.
Oh, it is. It has to get off the throttle. That might be track limits. As Mia does now go on to the final lap of this race. Number 8, Lel, has picked up a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. So that is going to put Lel in an even worse situation, and P14 will drop down a fair chunk in this race. And away we go again. Mia's on the last lap of this race. 20 seconds is the gap from P1 to P2. And this is the battle for P2 right now. Looks like Ashton's had a good run, actually, through those last couple of corners of that previous lap, and has gained a little bit of an advantage. A flurry of stuff coming in at the moment. We've got another 10-second penalty for the 254 car, but at the moment our focus remains very solidly on this. And I have to report, finally, the rain is arriving in 30 minutes, so won't be seeing any of that tonight. Yeah, that's 30 minutes too late, in my opinion.
Yes, definitely. But I think Reynolds might have this. He's managed to break Ellis a little bit here. Ellis would need to get a really nice run and try and maximize his speed through the little kink at 12 and 13 where possible. But I think Reynolds will have this. Meanwhile, coming through the final few corners now will be Mia Rose will stay on board here for the moment as Ellis has actually got closed in. So I think we'll stay here. Mia Rose will win this race for round 2, but our focus is firmly on the fight for P2 between Reynolds and Ellis. Where's the breaking point? Reynolds breaks. Can Ellis get the run through here? I think he has. He has to do a very late dive, and he tries to go for it, but he can't do it. Mia Rose wins here at round 2. Misano for Split Blue in the Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series. A dominant race for her. Ellis gets close again, but he can't do it. Reynolds holds on brilliantly for P2, but Ellis on the podium, and he takes the silver class win. That is a fantastic effort from Bretto Ellis, and probably my driver of the day.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you on that one. Vediger will come home in P4 with the BMW 999 car. Ashley Johnston, a P5 for him. I think that may be his best result this season so far. Good work from him. He'll take P2 in the silver category. Right behind him is Steve Lewis, who'll come across the line. P6 overall, P3 for the silver category. And then Kidman, as semi-predicted earlier on, not too earlier on, but throughout the race, Kidman does take the Pro-Am win. Very nice driving from him. Bracken P8, Piper P9, and Chris Murphy, who would have been well up the order there, will take P10. Fascinating end to this race. I mean, I just can't forget the fact that we had a fastest lap here of a 132.6 flat. I mean, that's just incredible to me.
Yep. Insane speed shown by our winner today in Mia Rose, and many pointing out in chat that she is very much just role-playing Max Verstappen in this one. And that will do it there for Split Blue. We'll have a look at some results for you. Mia Rose winning in dominant fashion, 20 seconds clear of Ashlyn Reynolds, who held off a hard-charging Breno Ellis. Then we had Vediger, Johnston, Lewis, Kidman, Bracken, Piper, and Murphy, your top 10 overall. Jumping over to the silver class, we had Johnston. We had Ellis winning out from Johnston, then Lewis, Piper, and Murphy, your top 5 there. The Pro-Am class was Kidman from Small, Lell, Horsburgh, and Parkin. And then in the Am class, we had Brooker, the only one who finished. Ignore Ellis, he was our silver class winner. And then Frischduck had the wheel issues earlier on.
Exactly right. Well, what a race we've had. I mean, lots of nice battles out there. A real shame to see so many drive-throughs, especially early on with Convoy. I was really hoping to see a nice battle. That could have been a three-way battle right at the end there between Ellis, Reynolds, and Convoy. But unfortunately, with the drive-through that he gained, it just sort of put a bit of a damper on his race. We didn't have any dampness in terms of the weather. It was sort of nice and dry out there, which is, we hate to see it. But nonetheless, that is going to conclude our split blue. Sorry, getting my days mixed up here. Split blue coverage. But Alexis, a pleasure as always being in the commentary box with yourself. And I'm going to post the GoFundMe link once again. Just a reminder that Sean Muller has had, unfortunately, open heart surgery recently, and we're going to try and support him as best we can. So I'll post the link, and then I'll leave it over to you, Alexis, for the final word before we hand over to Split Red.
Yeah, thank you, George. That was a fantastic race. And yes, do try to share the link around or even donate if you are able to. It would be greatly appreciated to support a beloved member of the Octane Online Racing community. And hopefully we'll have some good news to follow in the coming days. We did actually have some members of his family join the Twitch chat earlier on to thank the members of Octane Online Racing. I mean, it just shows how tight-knit the community really is here. But we'll be jumping across over to Split Red very soon. We'll get a few drivers from Split Blue commentating here. We'll have Mia Rose, Jeremy Convoy, and right now we have Neil Haynes in the commentary box. So we'll have a few minutes in between. So we'll wait for the qualifying session for Split Red, and we'll be underway soon.
Thanks, Craigie. Hello, everyone. Welcome to round 2 of our Sprint Series. This is Split Red, the fabled Split Red. Delivered the content of the week last week, and we hope it does so again. My name's Jamie Conboy, joined tonight by race winner of the Split Blue just past, Mia Rose. Hello, Mia.
Hello.
And, of course, Neil Haynes is with us as well. Woody Lizard, hello to you, sir.
Yeah, hi guys. Looking forward to this Split Red round 2. I'm sure it's going to be just as exciting as we witnessed last week as well. So fingers crossed that it all goes well.
Yeah, fingers crossed indeed. It was excellent viewing last week at Brands Hatch with the man on screen, Carlos Johnson, defending like a lion to hang on for P3 in that second race. A couple of notables tonight. John Senekis has switched to this split, so we'll keep an eye on him battling along with his brother. They're both in the Bentley, so you can see 2J Senekis there. John has switched over to this split to join his brother, so that'll be some interesting viewing.
Yeah, last season it was always good in viewing with the two of them running, but they had some bit of bad luck last season, to be honest, so we never really seen them fighting together, but yeah, hopefully we might see that tonight.
Oh, the Dynaco livery. Have a look at that one. That's a good one. I don't mind that.
Ferrari fans cry and weep. This is what you could have had for Miami Grand Prix this weekend, but all you got was blue stripes. So
that's dreadful what they've come up with, that Ferrari, isn't it? Really didn't try hard enough.
At least at OL, we've got better liveries than F1, like just F1 in general. So there you go.
The red, what's the Cash App, the Red Bull Cash App, their little rainbow livery released today, and that's a spicy little number.
Well, that's not really a rainbow; it's more of a gradient. They've probably just used the standard Photoshop gradient and put it over bits of the car, and that was it. But you know, until F1 livery designers get the freedom they deserve, then I won't really be loving any F1 livery that comes out. So.
Chris Cooley on screen. He had the livery that disappeared last week. It reappeared and then disappeared. So I'm not sure what the livery bot's been doing with Cooley's livery, but it seems that he's removed it entirely this round. Oh, someone's disappearing off into the fence there. I'm not sure who that was. While we're watching the fellas go around, how was blue for you up the front, Mia Rose? How'd you go?
It looked like a clinic, but in reality, it was 60 minutes of oh god, oh hell, please do not wreck the car, because if you haven't driven with a 25k kilometer an hour wind in this game, go try it and then come back and see what you think of it, because especially when you've got a crosswind through turn 3 and turn 6 here, which is probably 2 of the most committed corners at the circuit, it's not fun, but yeah, you've got to keep the rear in check, which is easy to do, let's say, for a 60-minute race. So gladly we got through it and won by like I think 20 seconds at the end. So could have been 35 if I didn't have a little hit with Pat Oliver in the first stint. So.
Oh, did you have a little Barney with Pat as well? I had a good little battle with Pat because I'd got myself a drive-through and a bunch of other shit. So I ended up behind him and we had a bit of fun.
I wouldn't really call it a Barney. I'd probably more call it a miscommunication on the track of sorts.
Oh, Fadley's here. Fadley wasn't here for Brands Hatch last week. He's another extremely fast driver. One of the top drivers in OR for sure. So good to see him on track this week. He gets to partake in that battle up the front. He'll be in the top 5 without a doubt. Currently half a second off Shady Samuels, 32.7. Leading the way up there, Shady, at the moment in the Ferrari.
Yeah, doing a good job. But geez, that Porsche looks a very nice looking livery. It needs a few stickers on it, but yeah, it's a very neat livery there. And our good wishes go out to our other Porsche friend of Sean Muller. Obviously doing things a little bit tough there at the moment, and hopefully everything works out well. And this is all about Sean tonight, I think, guys. We've got a little bit of a GoFundMe page going on there for him as well. So you can spare a few dollars, please click on the link there that we've posted up on YouTube and also on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, amen. Can't stress that one enough. As Neil said, there is a GoFundMe page. If you've got $5-10, go and chuck it in, because Sean's much loved in OR, and he's He's a single dad who probably doesn't have the funds to pay for surgery, let alone all the time he's going to take off work and the follow-up sessions with the doctors, and it's going to be a massive hit on him and his family. So anything you can contribute, go and get in that GoFundMe page. Even if you just go share that link in your other Discords or on your bloody Twitter page, just do what you can, because we all love Muller and we hope he's well. So, I think from my understanding, he's still laying in hospital with his chest open at the moment. They can't stitch him up until something's fixed or so. He's in a bad way. So, yeah, as you said, Neil, fingers crossed and wishes out there for him.
Yep, and also for those who do want to show some appreciation on their cars for next week at Donington, there is a decal, I believe, floating about from Mr. Cricky himself that you can run on the car next week at Donington if you're doing Sprint Series, or really any car that you've got going on, because I think really if you can't spare the change for a donation, then I think just running the decal is probably the best thing you could do. So, but back to the action on track here, we've got Shady Samuels coming across to finish his lap. He's nearly 3/10 up on a 32.7, and that's a 32.4 straight away. Now, who is coolly responding? He is, but he's only 2/10 up, so he's on a 32.7, so he's still 3/10. Actually, so about 2 to 3/10 off what Shady's done. Rack Matters has put in would be a 32.6 as he pulls over and probably getting over for another run. Back to Cooley we go. So he's coming to the last corner. He's got Carlos in front of him. I don't think it'll hinder him as much. To the line. Oh, maybe. Nearly hinders him. 32.6 though. Still a 10.5 to find on that very quick Ferrari out in front at the moment.
Yeah, looking forward to the race between all those four there with Sang as well and the BMW. It's probably going to be a good 5-way battle maybe for this race, this hour-long race, guys. It's looking that way. Close times.
Yeah, 100%. We've said it before and we'll say it again. This is clearly the fastest split we have here in OR this season. Those times up there, I don't know what the temps are, but that's probably irrelevant. There's plenty of drivers in the low to mid 32s already, and we still have 6 minutes to go. Don't discount, obviously, the two Senecas down there. The Bentley's probably not particularly strong here, but they can wrangle out a lap if they need to. And I saw Sweet as well, and the BMW was sort of down the roundabout there. And P10 at the moment, 1.1 off the set pace, so he's got more time in that BMW for sure. Currently invalid and on his out lap at the moment, so interested to see what he can do. But there's just so many fast drivers in this split. It's, as you said, Neil, it's going to be a banging opening lap, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Ison doing a great job there as well. I think they might be the leading silver class driver in the Mercedes in 8th position. Had a good race last week, coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, well, he's part of the of Legions of Races, what do you call, academy team. So I think he's got a bit of knowledge behind his driving and setup. So he's in a good camp that both Ison and I believe Gonzalez, I think his name is as well. There's also one more in here that's a part of that LOR Ascent team as well. So they've got some really good skill and setup knowledge behind them. As we've got the 44 Bentley just deciding to put into the pits. We're to Tom Maloney here. So this is the first car that has not posted its 32. This is 6 positions, and the top 5 cars are all in the 32s. It's pretty crazy pace out there at the moment.
It really is. Yep. 33-0 for P6. You'd be feeling pretty ripped off at that point.
Yeah, you sure would. And I think it's better to sit in the commentary booth when you start seeing times like that.
Shows you how not particularly quick the Bentley is. This man was on pole last week and won race 1 by a landslide. Lucas Keys, very, very fast in this Bentley at Brands Hatch, but unable to do anything better than P7 with a 33.2 at the moment. So the Bentley, the old boat, just really doesn't get around Misano all that well.
I don't know if he'll be loving or hating the fact that he's got the JP in front of him in P5 at the moment, who's done a 32. So he's probably looking at that 44 Donico car and trying to be the best Lightning McQueen and try and get that sponsorship. But at the moment, we've still got only just under 4 minutes left in qualifying. So everyone out here is probably doing their now last runs of the session. Yeah, look at that. Look at that queue of Mercs down the back of the field here. That's 17th to 20th. And Satria is the third driver who's in that LOR asset team as well. But Pete Vinny, Porsche, a little bit far down the grid there in the Pro-Am class. Only got 24 cars here tonight as well, which is a little bit low of a field compared to what we had for Blue. But Vinny is pretty up on his lap time. He's about 2/10 up. Probably get him up one spot. I don't know, he'll get 2 here into the last corner. Oh, not a great exit there, but he's going to lose all his time on the exit, actually. So it wasn't the worst exit he could have. And to another Porsche of Rackman, he is now nearly 2/10, loses a bit on exit there. And now, so he's got to gain nearly 2/10 now to grab pole off Shady through turn 8. Playing with the throttle. I think he's the only one out there with no TC on at the moment, which is pretty skillful from Rackman in that Porsche.
Yeah, he said there was a few drivers missing. I'm just looking through the attendance sheet. There's actually a couple of red lights. So there's enough drivers in this split to fill it up, but there's just a few unavailable tonight, unfortunately. Mike Reel, I don't know what we're going to do at the end of the stream, but Mike Reel usually does the donuts for us at the end of the stream. So without him, someone's going to have to cover him for sure.
Well,
we need those donuts.
I heard a rumor that the reason why Mike Reel's in here tonight is he's apparently having dinner with Benjamin Hignett in Newcastle, which I feel sorry for the both of them being in Newcastle, first of all, and second of all, Rackman nearly lose it out of turn 1. And second of all, I hope they're having a great night, probably watching us spill a lot of words about split red here, as we see now Ricciucci come across the line in the Lambo. P8, I know that car can do a lot more better than a 33.2, so I hope he can pull something out.
1 minute and 33 seconds to go. So any drivers crossing the line now, being car 95, probably just going to miss out on one last lap. There's a couple that are invalid out there, including one of the Senecas in the last sector. So I know there's a couple coming around the last sector now. They've got time for one more lap. I'm thinking 2 more laps. Silly me. So we are seeing the last laps now. Corey Sweet had 2/10 in the bag before he came to this final sector. He's just dropped 1 or 2 of those. And even here, he's bleeding a little bit of time. And then, nice little bit on the entry there, and then lost it again on the exit. So it's only a 10th, down to a 33.4 that'll be for Corey Sweet. He's got time for one more. What can he pull out in this orange BMW?
I'd probably say it's a bit more red than orange there, but you know.
All right, chat, come in. That's clearly orange, Mia. Corey Sweet's BMW. Neil, sort it out for us. Your thoughts, please.
It looked like more of an orange tinge red.
Sit on the fence, Neil.
Sit on the fence, much like Ragbad's time there was so close to being a 32.4 that it just didn't want to be there and decided to be only 900ths off it. So he'll start P2 at the moment, but we've still got Cooley to face laps. Sang's already called his qualifying session, which is fair enough because that BMW is an absolute dog at this track.
So we got Law MRT, Peekaboo, and Jay all going with JC.
It's clearly orange.
Clearly orange.
Are you feeling okay?
I got a new monitor today, so I'm still getting used to the colours. Yeah, now I get your point. I've got a bit more of a look at it. Yeah, I could see why you would say yellow. I'm not yellow, fucking orange. Oh my god.
Jesus.
I am okay, I'm sure of it.
I drive Lambo good, win race good, no colours.
You say that, you say that in the Lambo is peak, so you know, it is what it is. He comes across the line, so close to improving, but it's not good enough. He's going to start P11, and I think there's not really anyone else improving.
One more coming across the line there, 37. I don't see them.
And that's it.
Jumping to Satria, who came across the line there last season, is going to start in P20. It looks like it's either Shady or Fadley up the front. It is Shady. Shady Samuel. Hello. Very nice from you, mate. Very nice up the front. Fadley Rackmat P2. Cooley and Sang on the second row. And then the two Senecas creating a Maloney sandwich there. Tom will love that. He loves being in between two big South African men, does Tom Maloney. Ricciuti in P8. Keys P9 and Ison pretty well done up there in the silver class in P10. It's a good little performance there from the heavily bopped Mercedes. That is, the BMW gets 39 kilos. I didn't know that. No wonder Sweet's struggling. Goodness gracious.
I'm going to use the word here, gentlemen. I'm going to use the word bop. It's going to rattle at least 5 people's cages who are watching right now. But quite honestly, I think the only car that this is probably one of the rare instances where a car at a track is overbopped, and I think it's the BMW here. I don't think it deserves 30. Probably deserves like around about 30 kilos here, but 39 is a bit too much. As we'll now have a look through the grid here of liveried up, non-liveried up, and in the case of John here, a livery that's not wanting to work as a livery and more like an art piece.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing Raschuti, what he can do in that Lamborghini. And there's
Very popular, that Raschuti Lambo is a very popular livery. He gets plenty of love in chat most weeks for that Lambo, does Raschuti?
Yeah, he sure does.
Well, I think it's nearly his 3rd season to use that livery, so what's not broken, don't need to fix it. So seems like the land of the purple here in the midfield here with Bartlett's livery and the 2 LOR cars as well. Sorry, 3 LOR cars in a row.
Look at that. That's pretty.
Plenty of them.
Take that one over that side too. That's a beautiful meter opportunity right there. Sadly, they're a bit farther back than what they really want to be.
Yeah, is that Satria 37? I think that's a missed opportunity from Satria. He probably should have just dropped back a position. I think
yeah, it is too. Yeah,
missed opportunity. Should have lined them all up. Anyway, they are good-looking Mercedes. Whoever's done those liveries has done a very nice job. They're very strong.
Nothing goes wrong with a bit of purple and pink on race cars, and people need to learn that. They need to accept the fate that purple and pink work on race cars. And people don't use purple or pink that much. It's a sad thing.
Mr. Mercedes in chat at YouTube, Jay, saying plenty of AMGs. He likes very muchly, so I'm sure he'll be barracking to see a couple of those Mercedes up in the top 10 after the hour here tonight.
Right, and we've just got some breaking news. Yep, so
Ooh.
car 19 has been given a 2-place grid penalty for impeding in qualifying. So, Mr. Lure, another LOR set driver as well. Okay, that's not got their livery working sadly, but they'll have to drop down to where Statria is running. So, probably might mean that team will get a line of cars on the right side of the grid come the start.
So it looks like the wind here, Mia, is about 15 kilometres an hour, about 10 kilometres kinder here in Split Red.
These guys are real lucky. That wind ain't 20. Well, was actually up to 27 in the race earlier. So these guys have got it lucky. They've only got 15 k's of wind, and by the looks of it, it's a headwind into turn 8. So it'll be a crosswind through turn 6 and turn 3. So it'll be another interesting race for the turn 6 crowd, as they'll watch a lot of cars do a bit of drifting through there.
No rain again. Did you notice that we had rain on the radar with about half an hour to go in our race, and we just didn't quite get there, but we were going to have a bit of a sprinkle towards the end of our race.
Yeah, I didn't notice it till to the last lap, and I went, oh, thank God I don't have to deal with any more rain. So I think a bit of rain, a bit of wind would have caused a bit more chaos than what we already had.
It got a handle on plenty of drivers. There was a lot of drive-throughs really early, and as you said, you were getting a bit squiggly, and I was too. There's a lot of cars stepping out more than they normally would, so it plays a big part, that wind, for sure. But beautiful conditions here. 14 degrees track, 14 degrees ambient, with Shady Samuel up the front and Fadley Rackmat to lead the way here in Split Red for round 2 as we round the final corner now all lined up 2 by 2. Very, very good looking. This is a very nice grid. Everyone nice and bunched up. The race director will be very happy with that. Shady's got a nice little gap there to the car behind and gets a very nice start in the Ferrari, which is not particularly strong off the line, but he's made it work and he will go unabated into turn 1. Nice work, Fadley. Maybe just shaking off a few cobwebs after not participating last week. 3, 4, 5, 6 all get through nicely. The Mercedes of Ison having a little dip up the inside, making it 3 wide into turn 2, but thinking better of it for turn 3, and then down into turn 4. There's a bit of a whoopsie-poopsie back there. That is one of the Mercedes back there who has gone the wrong way, but it looks like they're going to make it through pretty cleanly. There was a safety car called very early on in split blue, but split red have made it through the first sector very nicely.
Notice in the background there too, one of the yellow RSN cars had gone around as Cooley nearly gets turned by Sang. That's going to cause a check-up out at turn 7, but we nearly had an unsafe rejoin from an LORSN car into another one. After turn 3, we see Sang's now having a bit of a battle with Maloney, and he's also got John Rasushi and JP behind. Actually, JP and Keys are sort of side by side through the most committed section on the track here. Sang's going to love it, get a little bit of clean air. Also remember too that these tyres will take an extra lap to warm up because of the cooler conditions, and because of the wind, it's going to be very sketchy, especially through there. Because do we have a bit of a contact?
That was Lucas Keys, I think, down there at the hairpin. I don't know whether he got a little touch on the bum or he just looped it himself, but he certainly... There was a little touch there from Corey Sweets. As you said, they all check up there on the first lap with the cold tyres, everyone being a little bit cautious. And Sweet just getting into the back of Keys there and having him drop a few positions. So unlucky for Keys, he'll find his way back into the bottom half of the top 10. Sorry, the top 20.
Riding on with JP at the moment, causing a nuisance at the back of the Porsche of Maloney. Got away fairly well in the Bentley. Sonicus.
Stands out in that Dynaco livery, doesn't he?
Oh, he sure does.
And you're not wrong about this one too, Neil. This is a clean little number from Fadley, so he stands out too. That light blue just looking nice against the tarmac, I guess. Both cars, the light blue ones looking nicely. So Shady off to a very nice start here. He's 7/10. He's Fadley's hanging on, but those two have gapped Cooley by about a second so far, and then he's in a bit of a battle with Sang Maloney. Senekis, Ricciuti, and Senekis again, all within a second of each other. And Maloney doing very nicely up here in the Plymouth black Porsche. Ricciuti just having a little look down the inside here, but nothing gained there. Oh, that looks like Maloney going a bit wide. That's a very tricky corner to go out wide too, because it's very strict out there. So I reckon Maloney may or I picked up 2 warnings out there for some reason. I don't know whether that's a common thing, but Maloney going wide there may have got 2.
Ooh, that was a bit of an awkward moment there with John going around the outside of Tom and nearly got Risucci in the checkup too. But we're now still going in. So at the moment, sort of out the front, you see before, it's a little bit of a gap here and there. I don't think there'll be any battles going on yet. Got to remember too, this is a 2-stop race, so it's going to be basically qualifying laps from here to the end. So you can see the skid marks already forming up there at turn 6. Just how windy it is at the moment. Oh, and JP nearly slides it out as well. So get ready for all those skid marks to get more crowded as the race goes on.
And we've got car 22 in the pits as well. So an early stopper maybe for some damage or something going on there.
Hopefully it's just fixing damage and also probably just getting a bit of a strategical advantage later on in the race. I think that would actually be Lucas Keys off memory. Yeah, it would be. He's not on the scoreboard, so he's going against it. He's probably just offsetting his strategy at the moment. Get some clean air, just pull some stellar laps out and hopefully gain some time when all the others come in there for their first stops in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, he did run off. We did see in the background too at the hairpin, I think, too, on that opening lap, or I think it was as well. So he was off in the grass. So
yeah, so smart move as you said, Neil, having dropped back in the pack there, I think he was about P16 or 17 when he peeled off from the pits. He's clearly faster than the cars in front of him. So, as Mia said, he'll just want some clean air, get out of that garbage between 15 and 20, and put in some good laps, and hopefully undercut himself back up into the top 10 by the time the pit stops come around.
The good thing with this race too is seeing how cool it is. You don't really get much tyre. The tyre wear doesn't hurt you as much in these races compared to if it was like a 23-degree air race like it was in qualifying earlier. So he can probably afford to go maybe 30 minutes on this second set, and then make the last one about 20-25 and see how he goes from there. But back to the leading Bentley at the moment of Sonicus of the genre. Oh, sorry, JP. Sorry, jeez, I'm confusing both of them still.
I knew you'd get there. I was going to correct you before, but I figured you'd get there eventually. It's all right.
I did this during the half of last season. I got them both confused, and I should remember that John is the one with the 3 numbers, but I haven't remembered that yet. So we will get there. I'd like to formally apologise to the nation of South Africa for sadly misrepresenting 2 of your drivers in the past what was probably 7 minutes or more.
Yeah, right, and on board the driver of the first opening round, Carl Johnson, in this Porsche. As we would say, at the opening of tonight's coverage, he was defending very, very strongly and picked up a very good result in that opening round.
Yeah, loved his screen time last week too, so he'll be enjoying this. Here he is chasing down Ison, the silver class leader. There's actually 3 cars here, Ison, Johnson and Bushell, all battling for the silver class win at the moment. Obviously, we're still a long way to go, but these 3 are neck and neck here at the moment. So Carlos will just be enjoying this. He'll just be sitting behind this Mercedes, checking out his pace. He's a very smart driver, is Carlos. He'll just be investigating where this Mercedes is potentially weak, and then may plan a move in the next 3 or 4 laps. But it won't be in too much of a hurry, I wouldn't think.
Where is it at the moment? If this was the reverse, if this was super sprints like last week, he'd be, 1 position away from a pole position race too. But sadly, this is not the format this week. We've got a 60-minute race, and at the moment, he's just knocking on the door of probably P9 if he's lucky. His Ison just gets the grass there. Okay.
It's funny you mentioned that though, Mia. That's exactly what happened in race 1 of the double sprint rounds in the opening round. Carl was fighting for that top 10 and got it late in the race, I believe, to then have the pole position for that reverse order grid.
And it would have been good for the championship too, because he'd be probably leading Ison in that silver championship by a long shot, and Ison is right in front of us. This actually is the fight for lead in silver. Got Bushell behind in the McLaren, who's 3rd in the class. Next one is Satria, but he's all the way down in 17th, so he's probably not a risk at the moment, unless he pulls some magic strategy.
Words are hard.
God, 60 minutes to this place, it gets here, just it's too flat. It's just too flat. It needs a hill, needs some elevation.
Yeah, it's not particularly high on my list of favourite tracks. I love the 8-hour, and I love the nighttime. I love the rain here. It makes it a lot of fun when it rains here at nighttime. So that last, I think it was a 12-hour actually. Was it a 10-hour? I don't know. The last time we were here for an endurance race, it was like 8, 9, 10, 12, something like that. That was an excellent race. Had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, tonight really didn't tickle my fancy. Which not high on my list is Misano. I don't hate it by any stretch, but it's, as I said, it's just a bit flat. It's a bit of a motorbike track. Just sort of doesn't really fit these cars, I don't think.
At least next week's track's a bit hilly. Bit some elevation change here and there, so a couple of hairpins too to really spice things up.
Yeah, Donington's top tier.
On board here with Lior, battling his teammate for P17, and he's got another one of his teammates ahead for P16, and I believe a 3rd teammate ahead for P15. I think so. So this is an LOR Ascent train. And oh no! Satchu has got a DT, not even 10 minutes into this race. Oh no. That's I think that's a record.
No, I'm pretty sure Blue beat that. I think we had 2 or 3 within the first 10 minutes in Blue.
Alright.
Yeah,
No.
Blue, they came out real early in Blue. So that is still early. Yeah, only 10 minutes in, you're struggling if you get them nice and early. You don't want them at all, but if you're going to get them, at least get it early and get that out of the way and get the track limits back and get the freedom to move again.
I think if I was Satchu here, if I was playing the team game, I would let Leo go, and I think he's going to do that. Yep.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, it's not something you want to have in that opening 10 minutes, but anyway, he's going to have to knuckle down here and see what he can get scrape out of this next 50 odd minutes. The drive through here, as we were saying, is a long punish as well, isn't it? It's a fairly long sort of lane.
I believe it's about 35 to 40 second pit lane transit just for a drive through, so it's a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, that's going to drop him right down the order as well. And obviously got Law MRT on the Twitch channel as well, agreeing that the last time we did the Enduro here, JC, he really enjoyed the race here as well at Misano. It was a cracker.
Oh, Austin, where are you? You're in Twitch chat. I haven't got that open. I only had Twitch chat open last week. Now I've got YouTube chat. You bug it off over to there. Hang on, let me get the other one. Austin, come over to YouTube chat. Make it easy for me.
Stop go 10 for Lior. That is
no.
an interesting penalty, and by the looks of it, that could be from the first lap debacle.
And George Bella
it's
asking, there's 4 classes. I think we've only got the 3, is that right? Or
No,
there's
four.
4.
There is the
Yep.
4.
So, race controller saying it's for an infraction. So that's interesting. He's done something wrong, so wrong that he's made the shoe and so mad he's got to stop go 10 for his troubles. And I believe there's about to be another penalty to come through. There it is. Corey Sweet has gotten a 15-second. That would be for his little tap with Mr. Lucas Keys making himself a Dedge car on the exit of the hairpin.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, stage left for Mr. Sweet, I think.
That a big lose or a I think I'm done with this race? It's a it's an I'm done with this race.
Oh, rage quit.
He is
So the
out
orange
of
car
here.
is no more orange.
Wow. That's a little disappointing.
I wonder if he's got a bit of a grudge with the oh, hello, we've got
With a
two
penalty,
stop
maybe? Not
goes-
too sure.
Stop go 30s for 19, which this car, he's got 2 stop go 30s and a hit. Is that what is going on here? Because that car has now got 3 penalties against its head. So it's yeah, I'm speechless at the moment because that was an interesting sequence of time then.
There's only one that's popped up in the race control bot, so I wonder if that's a bug or whether it's something that only we are seeing as spectators, but I'm sure the stewards will sort it out if it is an accident.
Yeah, and it did show up at the bottom right. Stop go 30 for cutting the course, and it came up twice. So if that's correct, he's got 2 stop go 30s and a stop go 10 to serve, and he's got to do 2 more pit stops. His race is over if that's the case.
It's Bartlett's race is definitely not over. It's really heating up here. He's doing a great job on the back here of Bushell, driving this Bentley, trying to see if he can get the better of the McLaren in front of him.
Sweet looks to have picked up a 15-second penalty for that tap on the tap in the hairpin on Keys. So
I did. Yeah, I did mention that. I made a very bad joke. I made a very bad joke about him being Dedge, but didn't really struck. Yeah, sort of the joke sort of. No, I won't go with that.
Well, they really are settling into their pace here, aren't they? There's only a few battles going on track. Angelo Gonzalez chasing down Quan at the moment. In fact, I think he's gotten past him as I said that. And, everyone else just sort of developed around about a 1 second gap, about the same gap that we can see Viney here behind Graham. So it'll all kick off once the pit stops come around, that's for sure. We'll have a few cars mixed up and on different strategies. But with the weather...
Just going to mention Leal's in the pit lane serving that penalty, probably having some ice cream.
Go and make a cuppa in that time. Christ.
Oh, you could, yeah. And
Also-
we're just looking at Wilson as well. I think you might have been about to say that, Mia, looks like he's picked up a drive-through penalty as well.
Yep, that would be a drive-through for track limits. That's the second LOR car who's got a track limit now. Law's going to come in here. We'll see if he's got another stop go 30. No! Okay, so...
That's good news.
His race isn't ruined, but the game must have had a moment there. So, all's well. But at the moment, he's down in 22nd, with still 2 more pit stops to serve.
Back up front, Shady. Seeing if Rakshmat can keep within this second or so. Up to these pit stops, see if they're going to follow one another in with their strategy, or if the Porsche may come in to try and... Is an undercut on the cards here, Mia, or what's the best sort of thing that happens around here at Misano?
You could go for an undercut, just depending on what how quick you can get the tyres up to temp, because it being a cold track out there at the moment, and the sort of the right side tyres don't get warmed up as hard as your left sides here, so you could go for an undercut if you're risking it, but I don't think really there's much of a point for an undercut in this race, because it's basically 3 very quick stints to do, so you might as well just split them up evenly. And if you do need to try and do something pit stop wise, you could do it, but it's not really that big of a risk compared to with like a one-stopper race. So
yeah, we did see some strategy in your split blue earlier. There was a couple of guys that held out to the last 10 minutes. I don't know if it really worked, but obviously we've got about 2.5 minutes remaining before we may see. So maybe the next lap or two, we might start seeing the leaders come in, as you said, Mia, split it in 2 every 20 minutes here.
I think that's a good demonstration of the wind is still playing havoc with these cars. Sang's just absolutely had it out through turn 6 there. He's gotten closer to Cooley here in the Aston. So we might probably see a battle develop here in the next few minutes, or at the end of the pit stop cycle.
Yeah, Sang's usually pretty fast with his pit stops. He's usually in and out at a blink of an eye, so he may, get a good run in here. But I guess with most of these guys have probably done the longer race we did last year here with OOR, so a lot of them will be used to attacking pit entry here at Misano.
Yeah, absolutely. Tricky one to get right too, because you got the corner which you have to slow down for, but then you do have to, if you're going to get it right, accelerate again to get down to the actual pit entry line. So a lot of drivers who don't practice that pit stop will be, taking the corner, rounding that corner at sort of 50, 60, and then just cruising up to the line at 50, 60 is a lot to gain on the pit entry. So, yeah, as you said, Neil, those who get it right, that's where we may see some position swaps.
Yeah, good point, JC. That's exactly right. As just getting a little bit taily out of that turn 6 that you were saying, me, with that crosswind causing a little bit of problem.
I reckon every lap we've seen Sang go through turn 6, he has been sideways coming out of there, and I don't think he's the only one either, not just the BMW. That's a problem corner for, looks like every car.
So
JLS is in chat. Hello, JLS. Good to see you back,
the
mate.
problem, like you said last week, which I love a comment you made last week, JC, about Cooley's car. He's driving so fast that the livery can't even stay onto his car. So he's doing that again here at Misano. Currently holding third. As we're just on board Shady, let's see if he is going to come in. No, he's going to stay out for another lap, guys.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising sort of going to the end of the fuel tanks. They've probably put a bit more fuel in for the start because you got a formation lap and sort of just making sure you got enough fuel to do the 20 minutes because, yeah, and at the moment. And speaking of, Matt has probably put his fuel to perfection here. He's into the first one in the pits and no one else is going to follow him in. And we've got another one in there too. We've got Law in, but he's a couple laps back.
This will be a telling factor just to see if an undercut, if it does help at all, if Matt can get out and get those tyres and see if he can make any gains on Samuel. I think he was about 1.3 seconds behind Shady when he came in. So we'll just have to wait to see when Shady eventually stops and where he might filter out.
Shady may have fueled long here, I think. A lot of the Kovacs guys will be running that strat where they like to sort of extend the first stint by another sort of 5 to 10 minutes and then run a little bit lighter fuel, and the last two stints allow them to push a little bit harder, especially if they've got warnings in the bag. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Shady do another 1 or 2 laps here. And Cooley and Senekis, Maloney and Senekis all probably in that boat as well. But I don't know how much longer Sang's going to want to sit behind Cooley here. He has caught up to the back of the Aston Martin and has done so over the last couple of laps. And there it is. He's had enough of that. So into the pit lane he comes, gets that corner right, and then gets it nice and accelerated up to the line. Shady is also in, making me eat my words. So 22 minutes down, the leader is in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think Cooley actually forced Sang's hand there to make him pit because most of last season, Sang used to be one of the late pit stoppers as well. He'd usually stay out for a little bit longer than everyone else, but he did have that luxury of being out in front most of the time as well, so he was able to dictate the race. But as you said, he was clearly faster than Chris and has been held up a little bit, so he sort of had to make sure that he got into the pit lane there because he was costing him time, I think.
So let's keep an eye on this battle. This is Fadley coming around the final sector now on those new tyres, and Shady Samuel here coming out of this very, very long pit lane at Misano. Where is this going to end up? As you said, around about 1.5 seconds, the gap before Fadley and Shady pitted. So once they round the first sector or so, we'll get a good indication of where they are. But of course, remember that Shady will be on much colder tyres than Fadley. Fadley will have had a chance to warm them up. Mia saying, obviously, that they're not going to be peak optimum yet, but he will have a very slight advantage on the tyres. He is around about 1 second back, so the gap hasn't changed all that much. The only advantage being that Fadley now, as I said, a slightly warmer tyres, so can he use that to close the gap a little bit? Austin saying that Lior now has been smacked with that stop-go 30 that disappeared, so the stewards and ACC coming to the conclusion that he will have to serve that, which is a little disappointing because now his race is properly ruined.
Samuel's doing a good job on this outlap as well. He's keeping that car nice and straight, bringing those tyres up. Fadley can't do much about it at the moment. He's doing the best he can, but it looks like Shady's is driving very, very well. They get some good rotation through that hairpin, don't they?
Yeah, he got it really nicely tucked in there, did Shady. Obviously a very high-quality driver, but he's got that Ferrari on rails at the moment. Unlike everyone else, that Ferrari seems to be on the straight and narrow. Doesn't really get very slidey. He's got that well under control, so he'll be happy with his progress so far, will Shady Samuel. But Fadley not letting him out of his sight, closed 4/10 on that opening lap there from Shady. So it was 1.7 the gap when they came out, and is now 1.3 So he has eaten into it a little bit. He'll be happy with that.
And by the looks of it as well, Seng hasn't really got in front of Cooley. He's actually lost time to Cooley. So he's lost about a second to Cooley in that pit stop cycle. Actually, I think-
JP not too far away either, is he? So he's ready to pounce as well in the Bentley. He's looking very strong actually at the moment.
Yeah, I thought he was about 2 or 3 seconds behind before the pit stop. So he's gone in with Sang and Cooley and has really closed the gap. Well spotted, Neil. John Senekis now up the front running the Bender Strat at the moment, so he'll just be happily enjoying his spot up there in P1 on pace alone. In that livery hasn't come out right, has it? No.
Yeah, it's for some reason put his old McLaren livery onto a Bentley, which is yeah, I don't think they're compatible. Those cars.
One thing's for sure, he likes those lime green wheels, doesn't he?
Is that for a position there, that Mercedes? I reckon there was a bit of a move happening there. I'm not sure if that was a lap car, but it's maybe... Anyway, nice on jumping out the pits now. Maloney in the pits too. He was up there in the top pack, so he comes out behind Shady and Fadley and will probably slot in behind Cooley, Sang and Senekis. That he does. Around about 3, maybe 4 seconds behind. 4.3 is the gap. Maloney doing nicely, very consistent. He was between the two Senekis, so we'll see what happens when John eventually pits. If John goes long here and enjoys that clean air enough, he may have a chance of jumping Tom. But yeah, Tom going along very nicely at the moment. Rackmat's pinched the purple lap here. So he's got the pedal to the metal. He's now 7/10 behind Shady Samuel. He's got him right in his mirrors, right in his window, right in his, what's that called? It's a windscreen, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, the car's moving around. As you said, he's definitely on edge here in the Porsche, squeezing every little bit of performance out of this car and doing such a great job on this chase. And worth a mention is Lucas Keys as well, up into 11th after being forced to have that early pit stop after that lap 1 incident with Mr. Sweet. But we'll see how he keeps moving up, probably up into the top 10 eventually, I'd say.
I think that would be top 10 once corrected, because you got Graham, Carlos, and John to still pit. So Graham's in the pits now, but we've still got the two other Kovacs cars that come in. So I think Keys is going to be in the 10, which is a pretty good strategy call from him there. But he's now got to work a bit higher up the field. His next car is going to be Ricciucci, 4 seconds ahead, and then there's a pretty big gap to the rest in front.
I'd say he's a bit compromised too with his change of strategy too. So obviously he's got to run a little bit longer, so probably a bit more fuel or something there as well. So we'll just see how that all pans out. Still another 31 minutes remaining. And we're sure we will probably see a nice little battle with Lucas and some of these other drivers as he makes his way through the field. As John Sonicus is actually now in pits to do his first of his 2 stops.
Battle here. I don't. Is that for position? I think it is too. Yeah, that's so Graves come out in front of Bushel.
Oh,
Interesting. So Bushel must have had an issue during those stops because he's a bit further back compared to where he should be.
yeah, he was battling with Ison and Johnson. Johnson's still up there in P1, hasn't pitted yet, but Ison's P11, so you're not wrong. I think Bushel's had some kind of issue there at some point.
Yeah, we had a shot there earlier, didn't we, guys, where they were actually battling 1, 2, 3 for silver class.
Jesus, wrestling that McLaren around his bushel. He was sideways through turn 6 behind Soapy, so he's dealing with the crosswinds. He's probably got a little bit of aero as well, and he is battling that McLaren. He would feel that he's probably a little bit quicker than Graham, so he'll want to get this move done so he can start to get those positions back. He'll He'll want to be patient about it, though. He's got to get it done right. He's clearly quicker, but we'll stay here for a while and hope he can get it done.
Yeah, Graham actually third at the moment for the Pro-Am class as well. In that Ferrari just in front of Bushell.
Interesting that it looks like Carl Johnson's going for a Chris Murphy strat, going as long as he can in this first portion of the race. Bushell nearly gives Graham's rear bumper a little tap.
Yeah, as JC said, Bushell, Mark just needs to be that little bit patient. Two different class cars here, so different levels of driver ability. But as we know, we've got to make that nice and clean, the pass. He has been looking up at the hairpin at turn 14, but obviously he has to be down that inside fairly early. See how he gets this run down the back straight.
Definitely the Bender strat. Thank you, Austin. When did it change to the lunch bag strat? When did it change to the Chris Murphy strat? That's interesting. It's definitely the Bender strat. I miss Bender. Where's Bender? That's why it's not raining, because freaking we haven't seen Bender for ages.
No, I thought if Bender was here, for a race that rains, it'll never rain. I thought that was the curse that we had.
If he's watching, it rains. If he's racing, it doesn't.
Okay.
Bushell's had enough. He's going for his last pit stop. He's going to have to run a pretty long last stint, but he's sick of sitting behind Soapy there. Doesn't want any more of that. Doesn't think that he can get the move done cleanly on pace alone. So says, you know what? I'm coming in. Carlos has ended the Bender strat. In he comes for his first pit stop. So running nicely up there in P1 on pace alone. He comes in. And that will put Shady back into the lead of the race. And Fadley still sitting right behind him. He's been sort of stuck in that 7/10 zone that the aero wash creates. So he's not really able to make too much more progress than this. But he is sitting right behind Shady, just letting him know he's there, that's for sure. Any mistakes, he'll be looking to capitalise. Shady has taken the purple lap back, so these two trading blows up the front.
Interesting that sorry to jump in there, but interesting
Okay.
that 30's last two laps were 32.5s, but both of them did not count for fastest lap. So he's probably going wide through turn 6, but he also got some damage to the right side of the car, actually. You look here. He does too. So
Ooh,
where has he got that?
well spotted. He's a little beaten up there.
Did he get it into pit lane? Did he hit the one of the walls on exit? Because those are scratches on the right. They are too. Oh, wow.
Well, he's done a good little wall rub there, but I think that looked like that the car was like that when he came out of the pit, so you might have picked it, Mio. It might have been when he came into pit lane attacking that corner and maybe just ran a little bit wide.
And he's got to drive through. No, that's the wrong car.
Oh, yeah.
62, 63,
all
very close,
excited.
understandable.
Oh, yeah, look, honestly, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got one, because he's probably on the limit of track limits here. He's pushing so hard to stay and catch Shady. I wonder what Shady's purple lap is at this point. It must be pretty quick. Come out of here. Let's see what their lap times are. So 30 across the line, 32. Yes, yeah, and that one was valid. So 32.57. He's now got the purple lap. So that's, I think, about half a tenth or a tenth quicker than what I did in the first race. So there you go. 12K's a win is my excuse for that one.
32.5 in race trim's just disgusting. That's just unreal.
I think
So-
yeah, 32.5 in qualifying was probably disgusting. So.
I got a feeling though that Ratchmat wants to actually try and get this position done before the next round of pit stops if he can. I was sort of contemplating, thinking that maybe he might be happy just to hold behind Shady until the next round of pit stops, but I think he wants to have that advantage of coming out of pit lane for the final stint in front. So I think he's going to put everything he's got in it here in this next probably 5 minutes or so. to see if he can make that move on Shady.
And he's only got the purple lap by 2/1000ths of a second. So these two are pushing each other at this point in time.
Closing up to the back of a blue flag here. I hope this blue flag doesn't cause trouble because there's a lot of free room in front of them. But this Mercedes just holding up Shady here a little bit, I would think. Obviously trying to get out of the way as soon as possible, but just sort of met him on the apex there a little bit. So
It still
Yeah, I
seemed to
think-
do not a bad job there in circumstances of where he was at that
Shady's
time.
got, I think, exit traffic.
Ooh.
Yeah, he did too. He had keys on exit there, so it's going to get 30. That's going to get Ratmad to close up a bit to Shady. Oh, that was wide there from Ratmad out of turn 6.
So what do you think? He's on his last track cut warning there, Mia?
Oh,
He's been playing with fire, hasn't he?
He's probably close to 1. I don't want to stipulate if he's on 2 or 3, and he just had a nice slide out of turn 7 there. So he's whatever limit he's on, he's pushing it no matter what. So
This is like a little battle that was behind you, Mia, for second position. You were out nice and early in that split bullet, but there was a bit going on for position for second and third.
yeah, I didn't notice that during blue. So it was at least nice to be pulling away from them. Seemed like a pretty interesting battle, but these two, the gap hasn't really come down to as. It's only been about half a second, but that's been it. There hasn't been anything closer for a move. So I actually wouldn't be surprised here if 30 decides, or Ratman, I've got to stop calling him 30. I'd be interesting if Ratman decides to pit a lap or two early, try and get some clean air and push. Shit!
Oh, that was close.
Not like
of a
that though.
Porsche.
And try and get the gap back to Shady and maybe pass him on lap time.
So I think the reason why we saw Lucas then as well, as you can see there, he's got the green the green box there after his name. So obviously he's done his all his compulsory stops. So I was wondering why he was fighting for 10th earlier and then was getting lapped by these guys, but he must have only just sort of come out of pit lane. As he's got his windscreen wipers going again there, JC. We'll comment about that in the opening round, that he was praying for rain, and he must be doing the rain dance again with those wipers.
He put something in chat last week. He's got his push to talk button bound to his windscreen wiper. So after getting a little tap from Corey Sweet before and having to report that to the stewards, he has turned his wipers on.
There you go.
See, I think Lucas Keys needs to learn a thing or two about having the keyboard next to him, because if you have the keyboard next to you, you can bind your push to talk button to a button that's free instead of the wiper button, because it always confuses us when we see someone with the wipers on. They're either trying to do a rain dance, they're either trying to clear something off the windscreen, which you can't do in this game, or they just got their windscreen wipers on because they just want it, They just want to have a bit of distraction, keep themselves busy,
Well, you would think, being Lucas Keys, that he would be really good at using his hot keys, would he not?
Or you would think that him being named Keys should be made of keys, but he's not made of keys. He's sadly a human being, so...
Neil heard that one coming from a mile away, and he was like, back out, Jamie. Oh, no. Drive-throughs coming through thick and fast now. There's a couple more on the screen. Lior's picked one up. Wounds picked one up. And I think there was one more that maybe just outside the top 23.
And that's the second one for those two as well, because they've both all... no, Lou hasn't had a DT, but he's had 2 stop-goes for cutting. So this is his 3rd cutting penalty. Oh my god. I think whoever's in the LOR Ascent Academy team there needs to probably learn these drivers a bit or two about track limits, because they don't seem to be following them this race.
He is still hashtag not last, though, because with Corey Sweet having backed out, I know he's not going to drop off the board, put it that way. He's P23, and he's P23 in our hearts, and there's supposed to be 39 people in this race, and he's still P23, so he's hanging in there.
He's sort of like, F1 think Andretti's going to be P23 and P24, but
Let's
Geordie
not go.
Slater here in the desk slam simulation entry. he's gets upset at himself, I guess.
I hope his Simrig is not on his desk, if that's the case. And another, and that's
Oh,
the
that's
third
another
LOR
LOR.
car.
Oh, they're all getting drive-throughs other than
you know-
Ison.
Legion of Races. If you need my details, I can give your drivers a good lesson on track limits. You can send your mail to lockbag9999.
So maybe it could be, as Gorilla Snapper's saying, maybe he's getting the drive-throughs for not obeying the blue flags. Maybe they find themselves getting in the way. We're not too sure, but obviously
Well,
there's a lot of drive-throughs happening.
I
It's
don't
either that or
think...
track limits.
No, it was track limits. So it did show up in the bottom right before for track limits. So it wasn't a penalty from the stewards. But I don't think the stewards give out blue flag penalties unless they hold a car up for
No,
more
they definitely
than half
have.
a lap.
I'm looking in the penalty chat, and Lior has been given a drive-through for ignoring blue flags, and Woon has also been given a drive-through for ignoring blue flags.
So those two DTs are not for track limits then. My mistake. I thought they would have been for track limits, so...
And they're going to have to obey the blue flags as they're coming out of pit lane here of the guy that's running effectively second, right behind them. So hopefully they can just let him go, because I tell you what, this is going to be interesting if Shady pits this time around. We're assuming this lap we will see Shady in the Ferrari, in through pit lane. Here he comes.
Oh, it's an aggressive entry.
Yep,
Oh,
he's going to be
mate.
aggressive in his battle, and he's going to get it beautifully. There you go.
Pretty good. Think about it, just giving a little kiss on the inside wall. They're nothing nefarious. It won't cost him. I wonder, he's going to have to quickly uncheck that damage, though, because he'll want to keep every second in the bag. So I think he just kissed the wall on the way in there. Not sure, but anyway, it was a very aggressive, good entry.
And to add to the woes of the LOR team, Liu has just got a stop-go 30 for speeding in pits. So it's,
Oh, no.
I wouldn't want to be a fly on that wall in that debrief later tonight, because it'd be pretty toasty, I'd say, after that.
Still not last, Lior. Bring it home, my guy.
It's like when you get angry at something and you just, you're getting frustrated, and it just seems to get worse and worse the more you get more frustrated. So it could be just that case as well, that just keep making those mistakes over and over again.
Shady, I think, is rolling in pit lane. He is too. So let's
Sure
see
is.
where... I think he's probably gained a bit on Rackmat, because I wouldn't be surprised if Rackmat had a bit of a bad outlap. I think is going to be understatement. He's going to have a pretty big gap to Rackmad. Off the pit limiter he is. And there he is right there. So that is probably about a 2-second gap.
It's
I'm
almost the
corrected?
same, I think, Mia. When we were on board last time, that was roughly the same time we saw the Ferrari come out of pit lane. So it's almost the same. Just to see if he can gain anything here with those warmer tyres as well. He's had one lap more than
And I think
Samuel.
he probably just got a track limit warning there too, because he looked like he went a bit wide. So, and they're usually pretty stingent, those track limits on an outlap. If you don't set, usually don't set a fast lap. The game doesn't recognise your fastest lap of the race after you pit, which is weird, but it's Kuno thing, so you got to accept it. But Rackbad, 1.8 to Shady, and Shady's got more blue flags, and I think that's an LOR car. It is too.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way now.
That's the 500.
There we go. There's
There
a
we
lesson.
go.
Oh, he's gone right out of the way. He's very much learnt his lesson.
Apparently better than what they were doing earlier. So, yeah, it seems like they hadn't read the rule book on blue flags. And he's going to let Rackmack go easily. Yeah, a little bit awkward there, but I'll take it. Go first fly lap here from Rackmack. Let's see what he posts. 33.4. So not too bad for first lap. The tyres are still warming up. But he also had that traffic there with Woon, as Woon picks up a 15-second penalty again. What would be that for a collision on lap 21? So probably away from our cameras he got that one, but yeah, that's, I think, penalty number 3 for that car. Penalties 3 or 4. It's a bit high to count with penalties. I don't think you want more than 3 penalties in a race.
I think they've been unanimously voted as the best liveries on the grid, but other than the liveries, not much else going right for the LOR team tonight.
No,
Other than
not
Ison,
quite.
Ison's having a good old battle of it. He's up there in P5 at the moment before his pit stop.
Yeah, he was running in ninth before the guy started pitting, so we're expecting him to still be in that top 10 by the time he pits, as long as he doesn't have any more incident, or he hasn't had an incident, but as long as he doesn't have any issues on these next couple of laps before he comes in for his final pit stop. Talking about final pit stop, he's in now.
Still battling with Johnson for that silver class victory too. Johnson still has to pit as well. So those two still going for that silver class win. Poor old Mark Bushell, that undercut that we saw before has not worked out for him, and he's completed all his stops, and he's back there in P19 with a lot of traffic in front that have completed all their pit stops. So he'll be out of that silver class battle, I would suggest.
Yes, Lucas, as we've seen here, up into 12th, and we've still got a few of those other drivers to come out of pit lane, so he may get just behind Ison, maybe. We'll soon see. He might actually get in front of Ison the way he's going now. I don't think Ison's moving yet.
If he does, that would be an excellent recovery because it was Ricciuti who started P8, Keys P9, and Ison P10. So considering he got that boop early on, Keys has completely recovered all of his positions and is now slotted in behind Ricciuti where he started. So a great effort from Lucas to get back inside the top 10. Once all the pit stops are completed is probably where he'll land.
Yeah, and only 4 seconds behind. So game on for a top 10 for Lucas. If he can find that little bit in the next 13 minutes, it's going to be tough because Ricciuti, as we've seen, has been very, very strong in that Lamborghini. And he's not going to give away that 10th position anytime soon. And maybe that'll even be up a little bit higher. Actually, we've still got those other drives. We've got Vinny to pit in the Porsche. And we've got to see where Carl Johnson will pop out as well. I think he's actually behind those guys anyway.
'23 drive through. That is Kwan in the Mercedes. Picks up another drive through for the Mercedes squad. Mercedes
Yeah,
strong here at this track when you keep it in between the lines.
well, yeah, and as Mo said, you don't really want to be a fly on the wall there at LOR, I don't think, with their debrief after this this round 2. Bit of time for Tom out in front at the moment. But a few Porsches up there when you have a look at there. 3 Porsches in the top 4, but it's going to end very shortly now as they come into the pits for their final run. Here comes Carl.
Is that another cracking race, says Carl? Most of that top 10, they're going to settle back into where they started. Samuel obviously on pole with Ruckmart P2, Cooley P3, Sang P4. So they're all going to end up around about where they were. The biggest mover inside the top 15 is this man on screen, Carl Johnson, who started P14. And once all those pit stops shake out, I wouldn't be surprised to see him inside the top 10. It'll be between him and Ison. Sweet has dropped out of the race. Bushell's had a shocker, and Slater's down there in P17. So if Johnson can keep his nose clean for the next 11 minutes, he could be on for a top 10 here.
Yeah, that'd be really, really good for them. So I don't know if anything's gone on with JP at all. I thought he was a little bit higher up earlier on, but he's just in front of his brother there.
Yeah, just a difference in strategy, I think. He was behind Sang. We're just waiting for Maloney. Where does Maloney filter back in? That's the question waiting to be answered.
Yeah.
If he sneaks in...
Got 14-second margin as well, so yeah, you're probably right there. Just the margin. You picked it there. Maloney is in the Sonicus sandwich there.
Oh, careful now. Alexis will come for you. It's a Maloney sandwich. The Senecas are the bread. Maloney bologna is in the between the layers of Senecas bread. It's a Maloney sandwich.
Can we just call him Tom Baloney now? Like
Tom Baloney.
Tom Baloney. Like it. We have to. Like he's been stuck. He's been stuck between Sonicus's for the entire race, and I think at this point his name's now Baloney for the next 9.5 minutes. Also, the woes for LOR are still going. Gonzalez, stop go 30, I'm guessing for speeding in pit. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough night at the debrief there for the LOR Ascent team. Here we go. Carl has finally come into pit. Looks like with the 3 other LOR cars behind him. There you go, Ritucci here's wanting to make this Maloney sandwich disappear. Now on the back of John Sonicus. That Lambo is a pretty strong car here. It's very nimble. Not great top line speed. You don't really need it here. You need a nice nimble car to get around here quickly, and he's probably got that over there. And someone has got a track limit. You see that's later, so that's P13. But back to the Lambo, it's a very nimble race car. It's a fine machine around here compared to what I'm used to in the BMW. And oh no, Rackman has got a DT!
Oh,
he's got a DT for track limits. I knew that was going to come. He was so on the edge.
You said he was on the edge.
Finally been bitten the bullet, and I have a feeling he's gone wide here into this very fast section. But that's given Shady the win, I'd say, unless he's on 3 warnings.
Oh, that's gut-wrenching for the Porsche team.
This is
Been
such a
going
strict
straight well.
corner. It's
Wide.
so strict. Oh, look at that.
Unless
if that's what it was, it's so strict out there.
Wow. So it must be, yeah, and he's served it instantly. Probably the best thing you can do is serve it as quickly as you can. And he's going to filter out behind Maloney, I'm going to say. Maybe in that battle with Sonicus and Ritucci, I'd say, even more so. Yeah, he's going to be behind that battle. He's going to be with Lucas Keys here.
Yeah, he's dropping a ton, isn't he?
Oh, no.
That's been
gonna
very
go.
costly.
Here we go.
Just in front. Oh,
Yeah, this has made the... ooh, Ritucci's going to have a look!
Ritucci! Oh, you got to give that back, Stefano. You got to give that one back.
It's going to be redressed there by Race Control for sure.
If he gives it back immediately, he may be looked upon favourably by Race Control, but I don't think he's gonna.
No, I think he's going to do it. He's going to do it when he's told to, which probably won't be for the next lap while Race Control look at it. But I'd say that's a redress straight away, no matter what you look at it.
oh, he's going to let...
Oh,
Look at it!
Oh, no.
And no, Rackman, just go. You've already caused it. Just no need to redress at this point. They're not going to...
Oh, he's a good boy.
I like-
Bradley.
I like
Hats off.
the sportsmanship, but at that point, the stewards will still give you a 15-second for that. So
I think there was a bit of indecision there. I think Rackmack was really thinking that Rashidi was sort of redressing at that point.
No, I don't think so. I think he was standing it.
it was sort of an iffy situation there because Rackmack thought he had enough room up the inside, and Ritucci know that he didn't. And yeah, Ritucci sort of just. He could have sort of let him have the room, but at the same time he didn't. And yeah, at least Rackmack gave him the position back, but he's still going to get a 15 for it no matter what.
If anything, for Nick Jones' comments, all happening in the last 10 minutes. Well, that's what normally happens here with Split Red. The boiling red blood really comes to the top now.
Poor old Fadley. It's all going from bad to garbage. He was right on for a nice little P2 there with the purple lap as well, getting him the bonus points. Now he finds himself back in P9 with a potential penalty still hovering over his head, waiting to see what the stewards do with that one. Personally, I'd be handing Rashudi a 5-second and letting Ratchmat off because at least Ratchmat, he's tried to redress, and I know I know he's probably still going to get one anyway. They're probably both going to get 5 each, but Fadley's done the right thing and redressed that. Whereas, I think Stefano probably should have and didn't.
I'd be telling who thinks we're hoping like these drivers get a bit of a time penalty would be the LOR car of Ison, currently in 10th position there. May get a free couple of positions if that happens.
I think if I was a stewards, I'd sort of give a penalty based on, previous penalties. He's going to have a look here in the fastest part of the course, and Ritucci's going to let him have it, I think. Oh, maybe. Sort of had a bit of indecision there, but he's going to, I think, let Rackman have it because I think he knows that Rackman's going to get a 15 for that. I think slam dunk 15 going off what we've seen in the past season. That's going to be a 15 for Rackman. Ritucci, I don't know. It might be... that might have been in the redress, but I doubt it. So we'll see what happens with the penalties.
Yeah, if that's the case, as I said, Ison may be able to... I'm not too sure now. Rackmack now has got the clear run, and he should be able to pull a 15-second gap between himself and Ison, but obviously not from Rashudi. So, yeah,
he's got to gain about just under 2 seconds to Ison to keep P9. So, shouldn't be that hard of a task here. We've got about probably 3 laps left in this race.
A little battle here with Sang and Cooley, and 1.5 seconds or so behind is JP.
Oh, Cooley's gone wide. Is Cooley gone wide? Oh,
Sang. Opportunistic.
But this is going to be interesting here. I don't think they'll give each other a lot of room. Sang's got the clear there, but Cooley's got to know something inside. That was going to happen. That was going to happen.
And look who's going to benefit. JP
nearly gets hit on the rejoin.
JP for second.
This is a 3-way fight here for P2, and I think Sang's not going to like that. As much as that was legal there from Sang, he should have left him a bit of the space, even though Cooley didn't have enough overlap. But what was that? There was a Merc sort of going into the wall there.
So how's the boiling blood going with the last 5 minutes here in split red?
Yeah, hope you didn't go to bed early.
I think this has been a slow burner, I'd say, for a race. It was sort of a bit boring in the middle, a bit boring from the start, a bit boring in the middle. Now it's finally got it exciting with only 2 laps, or probably 2 to 3 laps left. I think it'd be interesting here to see what JP can do with Cooley. As Rackback gets a 10-second, I'm probably going to be saying for that spin with Raducci. So that's not surprising.
You would think he'll probably hold that position, assuming Ricciuti gets the same pen, he'll probably hold that position from Ison, who's 12 seconds back. I don't see Ison making up that gap.
I don't think Ricciuti's going to get, he's got a 5 second. He's only got a 5 second, so he's going to keep that position.
10.
Yeah, so Ricciuti's going to get P8, Rackmack's going to get P9, so Ison won't play a part in that. As they're now both on the rear bumper of Cooley here, JP and Sang. We'll have 2 laps to go this time by.
Bentley up into second. Will we see it?
Yeah, don't envy the stewards on that one, Mia. As you said, there was a very slight amount of overlap. Sang did well to opportunistically take that position, but Cooley did well to not give up around the outside. And I'm with you. I reckon there was enough overlap there that Cooley should have been warranted the inside of the next corner, and Sang sort of didn't give it to him. So
I don't. Well, no. What I meant was that I don't think there was overlap there, but Sang really should have given him the space. But his self-preservation here, I think, is something a lot of these drivers need to learn with stuff like that. Is if there's even though they don't have overlap, give him the space. You'll both survive. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it seems to be that wasn't really the case. As Sang's trying to look for any bit of gap here he can find to get past JP, but I don't think he's going to get back to Cooley at this point.
Yeah, great drive by JP if he can hold on to this last podium spot. It was an aggressive move to make sure he got the benefit, as we were just talking about Cooley and Sang's little indiscretion, but awesome driving by JP at the moment.
yeah, absolutely. We saw how quick Lucas Keys was last week, and he hasn't been able to extract that pace from the Bentley, whereas Senekis tonight has. So it'll be a super strong performance, even if he just holds P3 here. But if he manages to get P2 off Cooley, or if indeed the Pens put him up there, it'll be a great drive from Peach.
Yeah, definitely. And on their last lap now, talk about Lucas Keys up into 7th position, all the way from last on the first lap. That's a good effort.
Super drive. Yep. Absolutely.
And Cooley's been given a 5-second.
Ooh.
So, interesting here. Looks like he's been given cause, been given fault for that. 10! Okay, so there you go. Peach is going to get...
We don't like to see that, but there you go.
Like, come on, like, that's just... No, I'm not going to get into it.
No, we don't get into that.
This is a broadcast. Anyway, we've still got a battle for P2. We've got JP and Sang, two very big boaty cars here, about to battle it out for the second step on the podium.
And that just brings also Lucas up into the top 6, and Ison now into 9th position as well. So well done to those guys. Never given up there for Keys. Getting a well-deserved 6 as we look at Shady Samuel taking out round 2 here.
I think
Absolutely took control of that race, guys, I think.
Great drive, Shady.
The record books will show that it looked like a very boring race, but I don't think that was a boring race there from Shady. He had opposition as JP's got the curb and gone wide. Sing's going to have a look up the inside. Not really. He was so close to losing P2, and he's going to keep it. JP Sonicus giving the Bentley what it deserved. P2, Sang P3. Maloney's going to come across the line. He'll not become Maloney and finish P4. And John Sonicus will wrap off the top 5 here with fellow Bentley, Lucas Keys in P6. What could have been for Rackbad? P7, fastest lap, but a 10-second penalty. P8, Ricciucci. That'll be P7 for Ricciucci. P9 will be Ison, the highest running LOR Ascent car, after every other car seemed to have been hidden by the penalty wizard and given every single penalty under the sun. And rounding off the 10 will be Carlos Johnson with Bartlett in 11th. And I think that's the last of the lead lap runners as well. So pretty good performance there by Shady to lap, basically half the field and then some in a 60-minute event.
Yeah, Shady and Fadley had ridiculous pace up the front there. And as you said, what might have been for Fadley. But it was great watching those two battle, that mini pit stop battle in the middle with those two sort of going toe-to-toe with the pit stops was good to watch. And there was plenty to view going on in the middle. It was a bit of a quiet, as you said, but a bit of a slow burn. And then, goodness gracious, towards the end there, did it kick off with penalties galore and a couple of bits of contact and some side-by-side. So really good stuff from Split Red at the end there.
Like a really good Chinese burn, really, JC.
Oh, no. Absolutely. Spot on. Righto. For the pros, it was Shady Samuel. Great drive. Absolutely spot on. Didn't look back. 21 seconds clear of Senekis in P2, and Sang hangs on to P3. In the silver class, it would have been Ison getting the win. As you said, the LOR driver keeping his nose clean to take home the silver P1. Carlos Johnson with a good drive, and Bushell hangs on for P3 in silver class. Pro-Am was Viney, Graham, and Angelo Gonzalez. And in the Am class, we've got 3 Ams tonight. Kwan, Jensen, and Herbert.
I'll say this right now. For a split red race, I thought, this is not really split red, but I think the last 10 minutes show that this is still deserving of the split red, of the split blood Manica. But what a great race there by Shady. Had Ratmat on his tail for the entirety of it until Ratmat sort of stepped over the line a bit, got a DT, and then had some good little bumps there with Ricciucci, and then and then that battle for P2 at the end. Cooley sort of deciding that he didn't want to finish in P4, but hey, look, at least that was his choice. But yeah, JP nearly losing it at the last lap too was probably a really good watch. So I think unless you two have any other further comments, I think that'd be all us for tonight.
All right, that's it. Wrap us up, Mayor. I'm happy with that.
Well, good. Well, thank you everyone very much for joining us here for round 2 of OOR Sprints, the Asia Pacific region Thursday night. If you are around, we'll probably have the North American split up tomorrow around about midday. But if you are still here, don't forget we've got it both pinned in the Twitch and YouTube chats about Sean Muller's GoFundMe page. I believe I saw earlier that they were $200 away from the 10 grand donation goal. So that is pretty crazy for what's only been up, I think, for about 12 hours. So don't forget too, that decal that you see there, here to race for Muller, that will be in the Discord somewhere. I think Cricky's posted it. I don't know where. But please go put that. I'll be definitely putting it on my race car next week. Go put it on your race car. Go support what has been a great man with a great. He's in a very bad spot right now, especially with his heart. So go support him. Pin in the chats. GoFundMe's. Make sure that I would love to see that thing above 10 grand, maybe 15, by the end of this week. So go support a great man who's in a really tough spot at the moment. And yeah, so it's and what a great night of racing world to support the man that's still in hospital on a bed. I believe not still sedated at the moment. So yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you JC and also Neil for joining me in the comments box. I myself have been Mia Rose. Mike Crick's been on the cameras and streaming all night. We'll bid you farewell. Next week we go to the most hilly circuit probably in Britain, which is Donington Park. Crazy stuff. It's going to be epic. We'll see you all then.